Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Here's Fears leading the nation in assists, surveys to the corner. Jordan Scott up top, Fears. Yes! And the foul on Harris, a chance at 4. 5 on the shot clock here, down inside. Cooper spinning. Oh, man! And Cooper with an emphatic slam of his own.
Hedging and just trying to get the ball out of his hand. There's another turn down, though, and Fears gets to the line.
Oh, my goodness. Cohen Carr is electric at the rim. She take that right now. Probably would present an opportunity for a score for Nebraska. That one is chopped right back up the middle, and that's going to be a RBI single, and the first run is aboard for either team as Nebraska takes the early lead. That one is hit sharp. That may be in the outfield. Oh, nice save in the outfield by Core. At the wall, is able to bring it back in. Hits it hard, right side. She's very dialed in, and here comes Booker. There'll be a throw at the plate. There'll be a play. She's out. We're going to extras.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. DB will be joining us in about a half hour. Had some things to attend to, but Austin, thanks for joining me this morning. How you doing?
You had a tickle in the throat there. I could hear at the beginning.
Bit. You know, it was like
getting emotional watching basketball last night.
Help me.
Help me. I needed that. Thank you. I needed that. Help me.
If you haven't, okay, so that's just a very inside baseball here to start off. There is a clip of Bomani Jones from his show, The Right Time with Bomani Jones. And this has happened to everybody, I think, that's ever broadcasted ever.
Yeah.
You like take a drink right before you're about to go on air, like I just did, or you're trying to get that last bite of something in, trying to eat between breaks or whatever, and you get a little something in your throat, and you don't quite clear it before you're ready to come on the air here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this clip of Bomani Jones on ESPN, and I believe the Dan Le Batard show put it out, if you want to Google it, that he basically does this, but he never recovers. He's just,
well, he does like a full introduction and read and everything, doesn't he?
You can tell the whole time. He's like, welcome to the right time with the Bomani. And then it just gets to the point where it sounds like he's choking to death,
and it's funny because Dan's laughing at him
the entire time. And it wouldn't be funny if we didn't know he survived, but he does. But at some point, while he's just literally gasping for air, he just gets a single solitary, help me, out. And it is by far one of the funniest things. I'll see if we can get the clip over to Shane, because it is one of my favorite things. And so every once in a while, if I've got a little tickle in my throat or anything like that, I just let out a little, help me. It's that's how we're starting the show on a Friday. Just a little help. Just need a little help here.
Just a little help. just a touch. Just a touch.
It is one of my favorite clips on the internet. But
I think I have the clip here.
Do you? How did you already? You had that preloaded?
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
that's
not quite no.
That's Carl.
I was actually super impressed. I was like, did you have that?
My God.
In
Shane,
the bag?
Was that on the board already?
I need to find this. I just Googled help me Bomani Jones clip, and it's just coming up with full episodes, and I don't need that right now.
Do Bomani Jones choking Dan Le Batard. I think that probably should get you where you're
choking on air.
That's a good one there. Ken B said, what did Ken B say?
It can be.
He just said showing my age. I don't know what we're talking about here, bud.
Because you're talking about the Dan Le Batard show, I assume. I don't know.
Maybe. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, he said showing my age. Oh, Ken. Did he say something earlier?
Yeah, I don't know. TK says, is DB finally sleeping? Absolutely not. You know that.
Yeah.
That's not an option.
But he talks about when he comes in, he's like, yeah, rolled over like 245.
Yeah.
That's concerning to me.
What's happening?
Yeah. Well, I just get worried, you know?
I can't function that way. Not even a little bit.
I want everyone to get at minimum 6 hours of sleep at minimum. Whenever I leave the office, I try to tell people, be like, hey, get your 8 hours tonight.
Yeah. I don't think anybody here sleeps for 8 hours.
If I had to guess, Shane might. Shane gets that nap in.
Do you get 8 hours a night, Shane?
I get 8 hours, but it's broken up in
okay.
Let's see.
Several chunks.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people that do morning shows do that. They get the little
chunks
nap
of 8 hours,
in and then they go and get
You're
that.
not a nap guy.
No,
you're not up there yet.
Only when I need to, every once in a while, if I'm dragging a little bit, I'll try and get like a little 30 minutes in to try and refresh. But
I hate a nap. Just feels like it resets me too long.
Well, I love a nap. Sometimes if there's late games on, I'll kind of pre-plan a nap to try and, I've got show the next morning.
So like the Wednesday night for DePaul, you were like gearing up and getting ready for that nap.
Well, so Wednesday night was interesting because I play tennis Wednesday nights. So I had to go back and get the Nebraska game and watch the Creighton game after. So it was a pretty late night on Wednesday. But yeah, I think we got like 45 minutes in on Wednesday.
That's pretty good.
Little nappy nap.
I'll take that. See, my problem is that there's no such thing as a short nap. It's either like a 4-hour affair or it's going to just not happen at all. I'm not getting
at 4 hours. That's not a nap. You're just asleep.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There are many times that Dr. Fiance and I will be just like lounging on the couch and we both get back from work and we both fall asleep. We wake up. It's like 9. And it's like, do we go to bed? What do we do now?
Do we go back to bed?
I think that's the hardest part of being an adult is when you have adult activities and things you should be doing, but the only thing you want to do is just like nothing and sleep and rest. And then when you wake up from said rest, you're just like, well, there were things I should do. Do I need to do them now?
Do I do them in the middle of the night now that I'm awake? Scott says, can confirm DB is not sleeping. Saw him leave the house at 0 dark 30.
Whoa.
So,
Is he doing a 0 dark 30? Is that where he is this morning?
I don't know. If he's a secret agent, I don't know.
That would explain a lot, actually.
That would
make sense. He always brings up, his passion for criminal movies and, horror films and all that sort of stuff.
Also
too.
Murder.
Well, I was, didn't want to directly put that. I'm trying to paint him in like a good light, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's not murder if it's, you're
for hire,
for a cause.
It's not murder for a cause. Yeah, that's usually how most murder is justified. Correct.
Bruin Steve says 4 a.m. came early today after going to see Dropkick Murphys last night.
Whoa, that's a good one.
There you go. Big
Dropkick Murphys on a Thursday. Oof. If you got to go to work on a Friday, that's really tough.
I think I know exactly 2 Dropkick Murphys songs, but more importantly, I believe Rico has the
thank God,
Bomani Jones clip in the screen. Can we pull that up?
He had a little bit of difficulty starting a segment. Welcome back to the right time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Welcome back to the right.
Loki, the funniest part is the burp. He tries to like burp through it, and then he's just gasping for air. It's, help me.
Do you have
that lives rent free in my head?
Help me. Do you have a memory? Because obviously you've done plenty of radio, not only this show, but you've done some broadcasts and others. Do you have one in your head where you've gotten stuck and couldn't get yourself out of it?
Not that bad. No, I've had a couple where I've definitely had to start a segment with food in my mouth still. That is probably the most common because I'm like, I can get this last bite in.
Ravi be eating.
I could not. I do. I eat during breaks. It's not as bad here as it was when I would do like afternoon shows. When I was doing an afternoon show in Lincoln, you can ask my former co-host. I was eating in there all the time. I would bring people thought your lunch bag was big when you were doing your triathlon.
Yeah.
Mine, I was bringing like a cooler. Like it was.
Yeah, you were the one staunch defender of me.
I was like,
you were like, this is actually not even that big.
I was like, that's a very normal size bag.
Well, now, like, Dawson brings in this gigantic lunchbox. No one ever brings it up to her.
I know. Nobody makes fun of her at all. But I was bringing in, because, I was getting a lot of protein in at the time. This was in,
as you should.
Peak powerlifting days. And so I had like a literal like cooler.
Yeah.
Like people would bring to a beach or a boat party or something.
It's incredible.
And it was just full of like snacks and meats. There was a lot of like cold cuts in there, just getting the meat in.
Get some cold cuts.
Get some cold cuts. And yeah, so there was a lot. You can ask him. I actually made him. I would just bring packages of pepperonis and just eat those.
That's
eat
insane.
Pepperonis. And it's actually a good snack.
Were you ever aware or fully aware of what you may have smelled like after consuming lunch meats and packages of pepperoni?
That's a Rico question. He was there at the time.
Fair.
I felt like my hygiene was good, but I am aware that sometimes
there's only so much you can do when you're just packing on cold cuts, right?
Just like hammering cold cuts.
I can't imagine like a butcher smells great when he goes home, no matter how clean he is.
I mean, I'm not cutting the meat.
I understand, but like you're consuming the meat.
It's pre-cold cut.
You gotta be careful, bro.
Rico did pick me up off the ground in those days.
So speaking of Rico,
hopefully he's not pounding cold cuts right now because he's struggling.
I've been concerned for his health for a long time. Notably, I tried to give him one Diet Mountain Dew, and he complained about it.
Listen, Diet Mountain Dew's fire, but it's certainly better for you than what he drinks.
He said today, he texted us this morning. He said he can't trust anything coming out of his rear end. So I got to be very careful with this.
I'm going to read the exact quote here.
I'm just worried for him
because the people deserve to know.
Do you think he'll come back like super skinny? We won't recognize him. Be like, oh, look at all this weight I lost.
6:01 a.m. from Rico. Still can't trust a fart. Austin. Then don't fart? ? Competitive stamina.
I think I've learned a lot from the show. Competitive stamina works in many different instances. It really does.
You got to lock in. And listen, I'm going to be honest. I feel like, and I know Rico's not here to defend himself, which is the perfect time to do this.
Right?
I feel like he's not taking this with the proper amount of amusement. Like you kind of have to laugh your way through the diarrhea.
You do. Yes, 100%.
You know, as someone who nearly
did a Big Ten Media Day,
pooped himself in front of head coach Matt Rhule.
Do you think that would have helped your relationship?
Not at all. No, I don't think pooping yourself helps your relationship in front of anybody.
Can you feel it?
Like I could feel it. It was, listen, I straight up bailed on a Brian Christopherson interview. He was in person and I was like, DB, you got this one.
Poor
I'm
BC.
out.
Oh, you can feel it.
And
what the hell? Where are those from?
Oh.
And
you can feel it.
Yeah, that's
what is he doing voiceovers for?
Rico's toilet past 24 hours.
Now.
And so I was, as someone who has a healthy sense of humor about
TK, does Rico have dysentery?
It's possible. He would not make it through
the Oregon Trail.
It's ridiculous.
That was, I feel like he doesn't have a good enough sense of humor about this. Maybe it's because he's not through it yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like he could chuckle his way through this.
There are some sicknesses that are more funny, like after you're done with it, right? Like when I got sick like a month and a half ago, I was dead to the world and I thought I gave myself a hernia. So I had to have Dr. Fiance check me. And it was the most uncomfortable situation, because, future wife, you get it. But then it's also like, hey,
wait, why was it
can you medically check me? You just make sure that like I'm okay.
So instead of in like the biblical sense, in the medical sense.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Didn't want to get way too personal, but definitely slipped into it. That's my bad.
Sure did slip into it, huh?
Can you feel it?
Our boss Sasha's here, by the way. That's good.
I made some suggestions on how to perhaps, slow down the flow of.
A cork was a bad idea. I did not like the word cork at 6:30 in the morning.
Listen, I was like, I was thinking like, how do you stop these things? I also suggested some Flex Seal. He did not appreciate
Flex
that.
Seal would be very fun because I imagine like
I sent a very funny gift that got very little reaction. I'll
be honest. I was driving and getting ready, so I was making the most disgusting protein shake in the world.
It's the one where the guy slaps the Flex Seal on the tank. That's
modern problems require modern solutions. That's a great one. Yeah, these are great. These are good. I'll give you a heart right now.
Thank you. I felt like Rico didn't have the proper appreciation for.
Oh, good
there
morning.
He is.
Hello.
Look, did you return
Mr. Poops' pants himself?
Did you return? John
This is ridiculous.
John Papuchis is here. You look a lot different.
John Papoops in his pants.
Hey,
there he is.
If we flex sealed,
I have not Papuchis my pants.
If we flex sealed your rear end right now, how long would it take for you to get a BBL? Like, would it start to balloon or what? How does that work?
Like half an hour. It would not. It would not take very long. I would. It would fill up like a balloon.
Bad? How is it still this bad?
I don't know. I don't think there's anything left in there, but apparently there is.
I can't believe this is how this show is starting today.
This is
like
what
Dr.
happened.
Poop and Smirts.
I'm just saying, Rico. What did you? Okay, so was there a precipitating event? Did you eat something? Do you have food poisoning? Like, what's happening?
Did you get gas? Sushi again?
I don't like sushi, so no, I didn't do that. I don't know what I ate. Like I just had we had some food. We tried a new noodle recipe with some noodles and meat and some salt, whatever. Like it's nothing fancy, nothing crazy, but yeah, it's not great. And nobody else has it. So like everybody else is fine, just me.
Are you denying the Ozempic allegations?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
If it was Ozempic, I wouldn't have this belly down here.
I'm embracing the allegations. Call our friends at Next Gen.
Is this a Next Gen meal medical cleanse happening to you right now? Just getting all the bad toxins out of your body?
No, I think I need to go on a Next Gen male medical cleanse to get all the bad toxins out. I think the toxins have finally merged, and they're deciding that they're trying to force their way out, and it's not great.
Do we think the Mountain Dew has finally caught
Absolutely
up?
not. Absolutely not. No.
How much Mountain Dew have you had since your anus has fallen out of your body?
None.
Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is.
I have had none, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to drink Mountain Dew to help myself get clean.
Your body needs to come to equilibrium, equal parts Mountain Dew, equal parts like everything else.
TK says the toxins have unionized. they've collectively bargained against Rico. Rico's toxins collectively bargained before college athletics did.
I wish they didn't sign it. I wish there was a lockout.
Ain't nothing getting locked out right now, Rico. We know that.
Absolutely not.
On your small intestine currently. You paying that guy a lot? Seems like he's letting anything through.
The only NIL deal I need right now is either Dude Wipes or Charmin.
I feel like Rico. I feel like you're about to your NIL deal with your small intestines about to get sued like Brendan Sorsby. Like I feel like that's what's happening now. Not holding like that's a breach of contract. I think.
If my small intestine can get $1 million from whatever else is happening, then I'd be more than happy with it. I could deal with these problems.
Okay, this is an important question here.
Well,
for $1 million, how long would you be willing to have diarrhea?
The rest of my life. It's easy.
For $1 million, I'd go about a month.
I would say for the rest of your life is a long time to have diarrhea.
Listen, there are people among us, not me because I'm fibered up, all right. But there's people among us, and I know for sure in this office because listen, male bathrooms pretty bad. There's people among us that have that diarrhea willingly every day, and they're not making $1 million, not to my knowledge.
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not talking about like the occasional. I'm talking like Rico level. You are this sick all the time. How long could you withstand that for $1 million? Because I don't think you go to the rest of your life. I think you at some point you're just like, this is not worth it.
If it's like actually like where Rico
like
is at,
actual sick diarrhea.
He can't be within like 10 feet like removed from a toilet. Then yeah, I could probably do
for $1 million.
Like right now, I'm down. Like right now, I'm downstairs in my basement. I have to run around a corner and up some stairs and around another corner to get to a bathroom, and it's almost too far.
Is it one of those that the bathroom door is always open? Like you just always like it's too long of a process to open.
It's open. The toilet seat is up. It's all ready.
Sasha, give me a thumbs up if I can get graphic with this. Can I ask a graphic question?
I'll answer it.
She said it's already graphic. Are these those like get undressed type of number twos?
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
we haven't reached that level. That was that was the first night. It was the first night. It was a get undressed, and after you were done, just kind of lay on the floor in the bathroom.
You need the coolness against your skin.
Yeah, we've all had that. You can't lie. We've all had that.
Have you had one of the you just got to hop in the shower immediately afterwards yet?
Yeah.
That was yesterday morning.
Okay, because that's an important stage in the process.
Well, one of the first months that I worked in this building, there are other businesses that have been in and out of this building.
Mm-hmm.
I was, on the producer side, and I walked in, and in one of the stalls, I saw someone gripping their ankles, and I was like, I have never been in that scenario where that could be.
That's rough.
I was like, boy, do you just need the handles or something? You got to grip.
Listen, just fighting for your life out there, man. I make no judgments when people are in that position. I will say one of the funniest things for me is like we go to a lot of games, right?
Oh,
like,
the open door. Okay.
No, it's like we go to, and I know a lot of times we're as media or whatever, so we might not be in the same areas, but I go like to a lot of games as a fan still.
Right.
And
in a suite, but yeah, sure. As a fan.
Come on. That was one time.
I didn't want to go to Miller North because I couldn't get a suite.
No, because it was cold. It's different. No, you've all seen like the guy that is just like having a day, right? Like you walk in the bathroom, everybody else is just like doing number ones, and then you've got the one stall that's occupied the entire time you're waiting in line, and you're just like, my God, like what went wrong in that person's day that led them here?
That is true.
Because no one plans that for a stadium. That is not
a good point.
an enjoyable experience.
It's very good
Probably
point.
number 2.
Like what happened to him
Was
at
that Sam?
Maybe
A 3 is when it happens at a stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it is like stadium, airplane. Like there's some places where you're just like that. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. If I had to power rank the worst, like the bottom's falling out, stadium, really, truthfully, like high school, like number 1, because then you could be like
in high school or at a high school?
No, like at a high school.
At a high school
so like
game?
whether you are in high school, like for me, like if I'm covering a high school game, people know that I'm there. And like if I'm stuck there,
you're just
like, where's the big game chain guy?
You have to like hang up the big game chain on the hook. Like,
that's a nightmare for me. Nightmare.
Somebody reaches over the stall and takes the chain.
That's be my fear. I can't have that in my life. I can't be doing that. I think two's any form of public transportation. I've been on many a party bus when people are like, that bathroom's mine.
Don't do it on a party bus. It's not that kind of party.
No, it's not that kind of party.
No, the worst place, like worst bus is like a charter bus when you're like on a sports team and you're headed like far away. Like we were headed to Southwest Baptist for regionals or whatever it was, and it's like a 9-hour drive, whatever, and somebody was in the bathroom for a good 2 hours.
What?
And this is Division
2. Division 2. It was not great.
Ooh, Funky Gibble says porta potty at a concert's got to be up there,
and especially because that concert's outside, so that thing's been cooking.
I'm gonna
in the summer.
I'm gonna be honest. Any porta potty, except for the super fancy ones they bring to Pinnacle Bank.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the PBC porta potties are elite.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to make it into the Hurrdat Pavilion this upcoming summer, early August, and you can experience the Bentley, the Rolls Royce of porta potties, you'll be like, not that bad. They're air conditioned, man. Like
they are solid porta potties.
They're incredible. They're like in a trailer.
Yeah,
I poop in there all day, no problems, no questions asked.
Is that where you go for hours at a time during PBC when we can't find you?
No, I'm up in the tent.
That's where Ravi is.
I'm entertaining.
You entertaining many clients, that's for sure. I still get the shades thinking about Goose on the Loose.
TK says funeral at a small town church is the worst.
Oh yeah, that
seems like a very specific one that he's done.
I've been obviously wedding venue touring.
Sure.
I didn't realize how big of a deal the women's bathroom is because they have in some of these venues they have specific stalls for the bride
only?
Because of the length of the dress and stuff, and they're like, a lot of room to be able to make sure this doesn't get dirty.
Well, yeah, you can't let the dress. That's probably like you've got the handicap stalls. That's got to be like double the size of that for the
or it's just like in the own private suite or sort of thing. Yeah,
private suite.
That's got to be its own nightmare scenario that none of us have ever thought of. Is if you're the bride at a wedding, and all of a sudden you have to use the bathroom.
Oh yeah, that would be a nightmare. Especially some of those dresses there's a lot going on.
You can't be poopy in your poofy dress. That's for sure. Can't be having them.
Poof.
Thank you, John Papuchis.
Thank you, John Papuchis. Poops in his pants.
Wow, this has been.
I certainly didn't intend to talk about poop for 20 minutes, but kind of is what it is.
What can you do? You know?
I don't know. This is Rico's fault. Clearly,
it is.
For not
I mean,
being here
he
today.
decided he wanted to join in, so that was his thing.
It's also, I mean, his fault for
correct
not being here today. And I mean, like Imodium AD exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like you pop that, you're good to go.
You could also, just trust your food and not drink Mountain Dew all the time, but to each their own.
That might be a factor.
Who are we to judge? We've all been there.
I mean, I feel like we were very judgmental there. I'm okay about it.
I think he's a better person for it, though.
Listen, sometimes you have to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he finds it funnier on the back end.
Good one.
Than he does currently. But I am very curious how Sasha felt about this open.
I don't think she's enjoyed this. And she had to rush here. She was at Supernovas last night, went to 4 sets, not 5. That was good. But then she flew in, red eye, and then this is what she gets. This is a pink eye conversation. You got to be careful about that. I think we should take a break.
Probably. We'll reset the show. We'll set the lineup real quick, though. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we got Tim VERGHESE from Inside Nebraska. And at 9, we've got Mike Sautter from Hurrdat Sports and NEB Preps. That's awesome. I'm Ravi. DB will be here shortly. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
That's a good word for it, Robin. I actually thought Price had a couple good looks. He had a really good look on that first possession and had a good one in transition that unfortunately didn't go down. Jamarcus missed one at the rim, and I did think we guarded well, though. That kept us in it even when the ball. I think the whole first media timeout. I'm stupid enough to think in my head, I wonder how long the longest it's taken for the fans to have to sit down after a point. I thought we were going to set that record tonight, but listen, that's a talented team. I know I talked about that yesterday. They're playing really good basketball right now. Give credit to Buzz and their staff and their players for continuing to fight and battle. And they went out the first 8 or 9 minutes of the second half, and they got everything. They got all the loose balls. We couldn't finish possessions. I didn't like our body language. I talked about that in the huddle. We were down 3, and looking at their faces, it felt like we were down 20. So once we fixed that and started rebounding the ball, that got us out in transition. I told them you can't run if you can't get the ball.
Yeah, just a great win for our guys. I got so much respect for Greg and his teams and the way they play and how hard they are to guard. This fan base is phenomenal. It's an 8 o'clock tip and the energy they provide. So this whole university and program I just have tremendous respect for, and it begins with my admiration for Greg. So he's been so good to me over the years in terms of win or lose, just been super gracious. And we really honestly, both games, our guys found a way late. We very easily could have lost both games. Our guys know that, but players win games, and our guys found a way to win this one, and BMAC obviously played a huge role in it.
Yeah, just the times I've been on the ice with him and just watching him play, I think that's a rare talent to have somebody with that ability. He's, one of the 12 best forwards in the whole country. So I think that's pretty special what he's done there. And yeah, again, even Lindsay, our academic advisor that kind of handles all our academics for our department. I won't butcher her last name, but it's she was just commenting on too how he even though he left after his junior year, he finished his degree, and just the type of kid he was, and always nervous to making sure everything was done on time, and just how he conducted himself. So pretty special hockey player, and obviously made a good impact as a human being with his character as well.
So they got up 6 in the morning.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was pretty exciting to watch, and I know.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Back Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Austin.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Oh.
Are you a big combine guy?
Oh, yes, actually. I used to watch it like religiously,
Yeah.
especially when the weekends would roll over and they would have the replays of a lot of, because they do like the lineman stuff first, or at least they used to.
Yeah, yesterday was D tackles, D line, and linebackers.
I always like to, they did one year where it was like O-line and D-line at the same time, just get all the big bodies at the same time. That was incredible. I really enjoyed watching it, but it was also the same year that Chris Jones had his blowout. So that was, scarring experience for some. But nonetheless, I mean, I enjoy it. I don't think that the numbers necessarily parlay in combines and pro days to what actual like NFL football translates to, but I think it's a good barometer if you're looking for certain traits or certain skills in maybe like a position or like a specific targeted type of player that you want.
So that's the $1 million question, right? Is the numbers and what they mean in terms of how good of a football, because theoretically that's what this is supposed to help tell you, right? Is you're trying to filter down guys that you're either going to be able to perform at the next level or aren't. And so I think it's funny that you say that, because I tend to agree, although I do think there are certain numbers for certain positions that are more valuable than others. The 40-yard dash is almost not valuable for anyone. It's the thing we probably talk about the most that has the least direct translation to actually playing football.
Yes.
Give me your 10-yard split, your 20-yard split, the cone drills. I'll even take broad jump and vertical. I think you can actually learn a lot from there about like explosive athleticism. But I am a huge combine guy. I love watching it. I love the whole the whole testing part of it. And one of the things that I think is super interesting this year is, we'll get to the Ruben Bane of it all because I'm fascinated by this. He didn't test, but he measured, right?
Yes. This is where I figured you were going to.
But the other part that I'm fascinated by is we're actually going to get a couple of the higher end quarterbacks to throw at the combine, which they almost never do, because you have strange receivers in a uncontrolled setting.
Yep.
And one of those guys is Rhule, who I am fascinated to see how this goes for him, because going into the year, he was talked about with Nussmeier as one of the top quarterbacks, one of the top picks coming out, and possibly a probable first rounder, possibly in the top 10 picks in the first round. It was like him, Nussmeier, and Lenore Sellers were kind of the big ones people were talking about. Obviously, none of those three guys are going to be, I don't think any of them are going to be first round picks. And none of those guys are going to be the first pick off the board.
Yeah.
Or the first quarterback even off the board with Fernando Mendoza. So I am fascinated to see how Rhule does, because I actually do really like watching the drills too, because I think you get a lot more out of the drills than you do some of the testing. But the other part of this that I wanted to talk about was Ruben Bane, because we we have this thing. We did it with Will Campbell last year, and we're doing it with Ruben Bane now. Although the Ruben Bane film is way better than the Will Campbell film, obviously at different positions. They're going to come back and say, so his arms, they wanted him to be 32 inches. They're 30 inches and 7/8, so basically 31 inches. They're like, he's going to drop like 10 spots for having arms that are an inch too short. And I just cannot, I understand they have their benchmarks and things like that. I just cannot fathom that making sense in this world.
Yeah.
Like there is no part of me, and this is why I kind of get on people that draft and stuff. Like obviously they know more than I do in at least certain things, but I think sometimes you get so caught up in the minutia and the details of things. It's like, is this person a good football player?
Yeah.
Yes. Do I want to take him over someone that tested really well and meets all my measurables, but I actually don't know if he's a good football player yet? Like that seems pretty self-explanatory to me. I really struggle with that. Like him and Messidor both. I look at them, I was like, those are probably the two best defensive linemen in this draft, certainly on the edges. Obviously, you want scheme fit a little bit and make sure that they fit what you're trying to do schematically. But I'm like, the fact that Ruben Bane is talked about at the highest as like an 8, 9, 10 pick and not in the top 5, but we're talking about guys like Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs. Like Caleb Downs is a great player, but he doesn't play an impact position.
Yeah.
Arvell Reese, if you don't turn him into an edge, doesn't play an impact position and wasn't nearly as productive as some of these other guys. Like, I just cannot figure out for the life of me at what point you can just say, no, this guy can play football. We're cool.
Well, sometimes there's the pigeonhole box of saying this player has to have these traits to be successful, right? Because we almost take it the opposite way, especially in combine, that you hear it a lot with quarterbacks, right? Hand size is really big because they say, okay, the smaller your hand size.
That one sort of makes sense.
But on that same note, then you pigeonhole a small-handed quarterback and saying, well, all the small-handed quarterbacks that are in the NFL that have fumble problems or have turnover issues, it's because of the size of their hands.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. If that's the case, if that is maybe what the trajectory of like statistics and everything else show you, that quarterbacks with this hand size fumble more often, sure. But then we get into this bad aspect that, okay, so that means every single person that fits inside of this box because of whatever their physical trait then moves into that category of, well, then they must have this problem.
Yes.
And I don't think Ruben Bane's film shows that. I think you could watch just the Texas A&M college football playoff game and you can say, nah, Ruben Bane doesn't have any issue like extending out defense or offensive tackles, making sure that he can move inside. He doesn't get locked on at the point of attack either. He's usually initiating contact pretty early because he's able to kind of lay low and work his way up into the body of a tackle. He's really explosive. And his first step is better than a lot of the college football offensive tackles that will get drafted around him. He had that first step on them more often than not. And I think he
100%.
proved it many times over in the college football playoff. And maybe it's because he's got a great name, first off. I mean, Ruben Bane sounds like an incredible pass rusher. But yeah, I agree with you that sometimes when we get into the combine and when you're looking at top talents, there are way too many times, and maybe I'm not a general manager, but it's kind of the consensus you hear many times, and you see it happen in the draft where everybody agrees that these flaws are a reason that someone shouldn't be drafted at a certain position or shouldn't be drafted at a certain way, or because this person has X, Y, or Z, this is why they should slip. And the consensus grows on that. But then you fall in love with some traits of like a John Ross receiver type who runs a super fast 40, but had unreliable hands, did not catch the ball well in the combine, had explosive 3-cone drills and all the other stuff, the 10-yard split, all this stuff was fantastic. But then you ignore all the football traits that go into it too.
You're like, oh, he actually can't catch the ball
right.
that well.
And he has no route tree. He has no ability to break away from defenders. He had
can't high point a ball. Like
he did not rep well on the bench, which I know obviously a bench press is, here nor there, depending on what you want to do with that style of player. But again, if you don't have some of these physical traits, I can understand falling in love with certain parts of it. That's what I do like about the combine. But the other half of it is too, if the film doesn't match what you're seeing in the combine, then you have to go find, okay, where is the either lapse or overlie that comes between those two? Yeah, and I think about, especially with the arm length thing, which I think is so funny because, like, if that were the case, if arm length or if reach was that important, which I understand it's important in some form. Yeah. But if reach was getting first contact and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I understand, especially like with an offensive tackle, like they were talking about with Will Campbell, like you want to be able to create that space. I totally understand that. But I also understand that if that was the be all end all, no boxer with a reach disadvantage would ever win a fight. Yeah. Yes.
And we see that all the time. You know why? Because you can get inside of someone's reach, which, by the way, if you have explosive first steps and are incredibly powerful, like, I don't know, Ruben Bane, maybe that matters a lot less than it does for someone who, like, if you're just a pure speed rusher trying to get around the edge and need that arm to kind of swat away the offensive tackle, sure. But if you can just get inside and bull rush, I don't care.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't. It might actually be an advantage to be able to get under him and get inside. Like, so those are the things where, yes, reach matters. But when you see the tape of a guy like Ruben Bane, why is that the thing that we're getting hung up on when you know how good this guy can be? Not just as a passer, like, he's a complete defensive lineman.
Yes, yeah.
He was terrorizing Indiana on run fits and every run play they were trying to do. I was just watching some cut-ups of him earlier this morning when I was on before I came in here. And I just cannot, what I think I landed on is it's not really about the fact that they think the arm length is going to prevent Ruben Bane from being a good player.
Yeah.
It's that if Ruben Bane doesn't end up being a good player for whatever reason, and there was a red flag, that's something they can get fired for.
Yeah. Well, and then,
whereas if you just take the guy, it's like, oh, he checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Like, you can take Arvell Reese and no one will ever think twice whether he works out or not. You will not get fired. You just won't. You can take not Jacob Rodriguez, the other guy from Texas Tech, the edge, whose name is escaping me right now. But you can take him. He tested out great, and you will not have any problems. You will never get fired whether he works out or not. And with a guy that has any kind of red flag, even if the tape is incredible, like, see, we told you.
Yeah.
Got to have 32-inch arms. What
and
are you
again,
doing?
it's that same argument that you're making, that every single pass rusher, every single defensive lineman that hasn't had 32-inch arms, every single time that they haven't had success, they get added into that boxing category in which the next person then has to be judged for, right? So whether it's the Will Campbell on the offensive line side, whether it's the Ruben Bane of it, I just did a quick Google search just to make sure that I was remembering this right. John Randall and Ruben Bane don't have necessarily the same type of game. I would say Ruben Bane's not as maybe physical at the point of attack and just like pure reliant on strength. John Randall was 6'1" and he had very short arms himself. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So
David Bailey was the guy from Texas
there we go.
Tech, sorry.
But then obviously you don't want to be comparing someone who's going to be drafted likely in the first round in a couple of months to a Hall of Fame defensive tackle. But if you are looking for, explosiveness, guys that also like were on the shorter side, guys that had shorter arm length, all that other stuff, how did they have success? I don't know. You'd have to go watch the film of it too, but just off the top of my head from highlight reels and cut-ups that you've seen of both of them, they're both pretty physical and they're both pretty explosive as defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And part of that is because they're shorter necessarily. I mean, they're taller than me. So like, what am I talking about?
Ruben Bane's 6'3". Like, he's not even short for that position, really.
I mean, isn't Sue like 6'4"? Like, and obviously a bigger size and everything else.
Maybe. I think it's 6'4", like 6'4", 315.
It must just be because he just looks a little goofy with those short arms. That's probably why he's just got those T-Rex arms. But yeah, I mean, not everyone is going to look like Myles Garrett when they line up in the combine, right? Like, not everyone's going to measure out perfectly exactly what you want. I remember when I was a kid, I read this book about like the perfect quarterback, and it was written in like the 1980s. And they said the perfect ideal like quarterback build has like the running ability of Roger Staubach, the intelligence and like timing of Joe Montana, and the arm talent of Terry Bradshaw. And it's like, no quarterback has all those things. Like, yeah, it is. You're right. That is the perfect quarterback at that time. Like, that would have been phenomenal, right? Like that is perfect. And even in this sense too, and this is where like it gets so lost in it all. If you're looking at pass rushers and you say, okay, well, Myles Garrett is probably like in every essence of the form, probably the best overall talent you've ever seen coming through the combine to the draft, guaranteed number 1 overall pick, all that other stuff. But guys like DeMarcus Ware, and I mean, you can even like go down the line of guys that are either at smaller schools or undrafted or whatever the case was. All of them had different traits that somebody didn't like or didn't have something, and they ended up working out okay.
Yeah.
So you got to find out what works best for you and your system and whatever is. And so for all those reasons, I think Ruben Bane is a great Carolina Panther. I would love to have him. If he gets all the way to the 20s, I hope that his arms are that short.
I mean, famously, arguably the best defensive lineman in NFL history, Aaron Donald, is like wildly undersized.
Yes.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No one, like, it doesn't matter at all. But that's the reason he fell. Like, can you imagine, like, the idea of Aaron Donald falling, what was he, like 10 to the Rams? Something like that? He was a double-digit pick, I think, in the first round. It's like, Everybody knew he could play. The tape was like, there was no secret on tape.
13th
to the Rams. There was no
St. Louis at the time.
There was no secret on tape about what Aaron Donald was. But they're like, he's like 280. Can he really hold up? It's like, I don't know. The tape looks pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Tape looks pretty good on Aaron Donald. Maybe we take a chance on that guy. And it seems like Bane's going to go in about, I don't know if Bane's not going to be Aaron Donald. I'm not trying to put that on him.
Right.
But he's going to go in about the same range for seemingly as dumb of a reason. And I just don't know, like, at some point we have to be like, hey, that probably doesn't matter that much. Like, can we watch the guy play football? Like, did you see two better defensive linemen than Messidor and Bane this year?
No. And especially in the college football playoff, like when everything mattered the most. And that's another big part of it too. And I know it's the college football versus like playing NFL players every single day, right? Like it's not an exact comparison. But Ruben Bane was arguably probably like the second best player overall in the roster for Miami, like throughout that entire playoff run. If Bane doesn't do what he does in those playoff games, they don't make it to a national championship.
For sure.
And I think that's a huge part of it, right?
He's dominant.
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to go through this and just kind of look at would you rather take Ruben Bane or some of these guys from last year's NFL draft, right? So do you want me to include defensive ends, tackles, all the linemen? Like, what do you like?
All the above.
Okay, so let's start with Mason Graham from Michigan. He went 5th overall.
I would rather have Ruben Bane.
Okay, so you take Ruben Bane there. Next was your guy, Mikael Williams from Georgia, defensive end.
I would take Ruben Bane.
Okay, he was selected 11th. Defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant from Miami. He was at Michigan, drafted by Miami.
Kenneth Grant was really good. I think Ruben Bane was better than all those guys.
Okay. So, I mean, like we're already talking about that. I mean, would Cincinnati want him over Shamar Stewart? Probably.
Didn't Mason Graham have a physical thing too that people were held up about?
Yeah, he was, what was his deal? Was he like shorter too?
I would say he had some limitation that he ends up going 5. And maybe Ruben Bane will. Maybe he'll end up going 5. Maybe he'll end up going really high. But this is kind of the downside of the combine, which again, I'm a huge fan of. I'm more of a fan of trying to find guys that maybe are under the radar than I am interested in nitpicking guys that I already know are good and productive. Like, you don't have to look at Ruben Bane and be like, oh, well, what kind of competition did he play? It's like, well, he played Indiana, he played all the teams, right? Playing power conference football, he played everybody. You don't have to wonder about the level of play. Like, there's a D3 receiver out of like John Carroll University. Like, that guy, if he doesn't measure well, you're like, okay, maybe we've got some questions here about whether or not he can hack it in the NFL. Makes total sense. But when you've got a guy like Ruben Bane who is productive at the highest level and is an inch and a half off on how long his arm should be, it's like, maybe I just overlook that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because what if Bane came in to maybe this season? I don't know what his pre-season draft stock might have been. I would have to go back and get that.
I think he was about the same spot, like maybe a little lower, but like, I think people were worried about the physical stature, but knew he was a good football player.
Right. But what if Bane came into this combine and he was like graded as a 3rd round pick? I think people would have fallen in love with him, right? They'd be like, his arms are a little short, but everything else, like his tape stands out, all this other stuff, like everything. And granted, his play grants him that sort of status. But when it is funny, because the opposite of what you were just saying is someone will inevitably fall in love with some 5th or 6th round pick being like, this is the next Cooper Kupp. This is going to be the next, Elvis Dumerville. This is going to be the next whoever, because of some certain trait that they love in there. But then they're going to ignore all of the other red flags that come up, whether it's physical capabilities, game film, anything. But yet you're going to dock a 1st round draft pick because of maybe something that you don't feel is a perceived, I guess, weakness from that one player that could dock them from whatever their ceiling is as a player.
So Mason Graham also had short arms, 32 inches, so longer than Bane's, but he was over 20 pounds less, weighed in 20 pounds less than what he was listed at Michigan. He was listed at 320 and he weighed in at 298. So, when you're talking about a defensive tackle and he's 20 pounds lighter than you think, then.
And he went 5th.
Yeah.
Went 5th
overall. Like, that did not matter. I was like, Ruben Bane's pretty good.
Maybe people liked last year's draft comparative to this one. People. I don't know where the comparison truly is between 25 and 26, but I've gotten the sense that 26, not a lot of people are like high on this being a huge draft class for people.
Part of it's because of the quarterbacks, right? When you don't have quarterbacks, people think it's a bad draft. I think defensive line is a strong point in this draft. I think offensive line is a strong point in this draft. I think wide receivers are a pretty strong point in this draft, although I don't know that I think there's a deep list of wide receivers. I don't know, like if it's a super
there's a lot of
high end
good running backs.
Yeah,
but
I think
I
it's
don't
a
think a
good
lot of
running back
people will
draft.
be sending a lot of early picks for running backs, except for Emma Johnson.
And like the situation you described about whether like if you're spending a 5th or 6th round pick on a guy that has traits over tape, that makes sense to me.
Yes.
But if I'm picking early, like I want a guy that I've seen play at a high level. That's the thing that always, whether it's Shamar Stewart was the big one last year, right?
Yes.
From Texas A&M. I think had like fewer than 5 sacks in his career at Texas A&M.
But every trait was off the books.
Yes, he looked like Myles Garrett without the production, basically. And not just because they're both A&M guys. Like he's a freak. And you sit there and you go, okay, incredible traits. Is he capable of literally doing anything on a football field? And the answer mostly is no. Like I get this, they do this with basketball too. There's a subset of people that are obsessed with, and he's just on my mind because I watched him against Purdue last night. There's a subset of people that are obsessed with Cohen Carr, the forward from Michigan State, who is a 50-inch vertical, like crazy athletic, can't shoot the ball. He's 6'6", so he's not big enough to play up in terms of a power forward or a center. He is a mediocre rebounder and not a playmaker. Like he only gets 5 rebounds per game with a 50-inch vertical. Like if that's your game and you can't shoot, like you should go rebound every ball you possibly can. Not a great rebounder, not a playmaker. He's just and can't shoot at all. Just a crazy athlete. And it's like somebody's probably going to take a chance on that guy at some point because of all the traits. And it's like they're going to overlook someone who's just actually really good at basketball. And I don't totally understand what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like maybe as an undrafted free agent, sure. But if you draft that guy over somebody you've actually got tape on, I don't know. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. Maybe part of it is just like the project of it that people, maybe general managers and scouts are a little bit more hesitant to put that stamp of approval on a guy that doesn't test out every single physical trait the way that they want and doesn't have like that prolific trait because of guys like Anthony Richardson, guys that like test so well and test that look like all of these things in shorts and in tight compression shirts. But then when you put pads on them and you actually try to get them into game reps, that it's just not the same as what you've seen.
Yeah, I think that actually play football.
I mean, that's just a huge issue. And you mentioned in basketball, it's a huge issue in like the 7-on-7s and all of the football, like all of it, right? Because you can see these crazy catches and everything that go on in 7-on-7 tournament. I'm not saying that there's no value in those. Sure. Obviously, you can build passing trees, you can build connections, you can do all this other stuff when it comes to what those 7-on-7s are. But if your receiver can't extend when pads are on, but he makes these crazy catches with nothing on and just like a shed helmet, what are you actually gaining from that experience, and what are you gaining from the tape? You're seeing athleticism, you're seeing all these things that can happen, but you're not seeing things that may translate. And so I agree with you that often if you're not watching it from the tape, I've always said that I think you want your combine numbers to justify what you are seeing on film,
100%.
right? And that's the same question if you bring it back to on the local side with like Emmett. People are going to want to, I think his biggest thing is how fast is that 40 going to be? Like, where is his breakaway speed going to be? And how quick is he going to be getting in and out of cuts, especially on a 3-cone? Because I think the film says maybe not the best breakaway speed in the NFL when he first arrives, but if he runs pretty well and people say, okay, well, if that's what his top end speed is, that's going to bump you up a little bit. And if his ability to cut and maneuver, which also goes with broad jump and all the other explosive sort of sets that they have, if those things justify what they've seen in his ability to make defenders miss in open space, be able to kind of work his way in tight packages, I think that that's always going to benefit him. If he tests poorly, people that want him will bang on the table and say the film says otherwise. Yeah. But if it justifies his numbers in the combine, then it will go back and say, yeah, this is the player that we expect to have.
Funky Giblet says, I think coaches by and large think they can fix whatever is wrong as long as they have measurables. I do understand there has to be a bare minimum physical traits, athleticism, whatever.
Yeah, you can't put me out there.
But a lot of guys have gotten fired thinking they can fix whatever.
That is true.
Kel GM says, and this seems like a good way to end the first hour, I'm 37 minutes behind, but that's not how butts work.
No problem, Kel.
That is the first hour. Austin, thanks for sitting in. Yep. DB will join me now for the last two. We've got Tim VERGHESE from Inside Nebraska coming up next.
I mean, first of all, we've talked a lot about our mistakes, but I'd be remiss to not credit DePaul. Coach Holtman's done a great job. they're really connected on the defensive end of the floor. They make things very difficult for you. And we got, as Nick said, we got casual with the ball a few times, and they just took it from us, and then, they're off to the races. But I told my staff, 6 or 7 weeks ago when I'd watched DePaul some, that this team's they're going to finish somewhere in the middle of the league. This is not a team that's going to be at the bottom like they've been in the past, and that's a credit to Coach Holtman and his staff and that team. I don't think much about that, John. Obviously, we've had a great run of success. We're all disappointed that this year hasn't gone the way that we had hoped it has gone.
I thought Maryland did a really good job coming out of the half, just playing with more effort, especially on the offensive glass. I think they got to +8 rebound margin at one point, and we were able to come back and win the rebounding margin, which was one of the keys of our game. So once we adjusted to kind of their adjustment, that's when it started to flip, and we threw a different defense at them. But, a lot of it was just getting those rebounds where we get into offense quicker and run in transition. That's really when the game flipped.
Yeah, one thing Coach Hoiberg talks about a lot is when the shot's not falling, go do something to make a play, get that energy going that other way. So I think getting on the floor, going after rebounds and stuff like that kind of just got me back in, and I think that really helps with the confidence with getting the ball going in the hoop.
The first thing is I think they're really good. And I think offensively they're mesmerizing just because of their ball and body movement. But I think defensively they're just as unique. I think that some of those transition threes that we gave up in the first half off live ball turnovers are just hard to overcome. I know that they shoot a lot of threes, but when you give them the ball and they're able to shoot it early in the clock in an uncontested broken floor, I thought that was probably the difference in that run in the first half. I know we started with consecutive stops, but we turned the ball over at too high of a rate on the road against them, and then we didn't get fouled near enough to give us a chance.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Tim VERGHESE from inside Nebraska. Tim, how are we doing this morning?
Hey, how we doing?
It's 8 o'clock on the dot, man. It must be TV time. How we doing?
Hey, not bad. Can't complain. How about you?
Just trying to make it, we little install this morning, a couple of fires to put out at the high school, but I am happy to be back. And one of the segments I never want to miss is yours. To heck with Ravi. It's about just having the opportunity to talk to you, man.
No, I appreciate it. It's my favorite thing I look forward to every week.
My man.
All right, Tim. So let's jump in here. I know you're a big kind of scout and eval guy. Are you just like locked in on the combine? Is that a thing that you pay a lot of attention to?
Yeah. So honestly, like especially this year, I've paid a lot of attention to some of the testing times, some guys I care about, but like I don't know. I mean, I want to see the testing times. I want to look at individual reps, but like I feel like a lot of these guys at the college level, there's a lot that like I already know to the point that I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know like, and there's nothing like a testing time is going to tell me that, the tape doesn't already or whatever, like I'm not, like R. Mason Thomas didn't run the 40 as fast as people thought he would. That doesn't discourage me from who I think like R. Mason Thomas is, it's good to get validation that Sonny Styles is, like a one-of-one athlete, but like, there's nothing in there. So like, yeah, I mean, on certain things I am, but this is also just a weird draft class. Like I'm not super in love with this class anyway. Like there's guys I like in this class, but it's just a weird class for me. And I mean, I'm already looking ahead to 27, like that's just kind of where I am with this specific group. Like I think there's going to be talent. There always is going to be talent that emerges, but it just feels like one of those drafts that's not, it's not as deep, of course. And at the quarterback position, especially, it's like, there's like, there's not that many like bona fide starters in this group, if any.
Yeah, I'm not gonna backpack because I wasn't getting, I wouldn't say pushback, but I'm not. I like Arvell Reese, but I'm famously the guy that's like Sonny Styles is significantly better. So when I see what Sonny Styles did, I agree with your take on. Well, I'm not really surprised, right? Like this guy is way good. I mean, he's 244 pounds. He's 6'5". I get to see him play next to and with Arvell Reese. So the comp for me was really, really easy. I didn't, and I'm not, I'm not hating on Reese. I'm just like Styles is going to be the better pro. I don't think there's any doubt about that in my mind. But the guy who I called my shot, just watching him, and I even talked about him yesterday before the testing, was Kyle Lewis, where out of Pittsburgh, I was talking to Severe about him, and I get it. He's only 6 foot. He's a 220-pounder. But this dude, I mean, you talk about roll tape and watch film. It's like if you want confirmation on why he's so productive, that's what the combine was for. Because if you just watch the film, I don't care if he's 5'9", like Sam Mills, or he's 6'5", like Sonny Styles. Kyle Lewis is legit.
Yeah, he's one I need to get to. He's one I'm not, because I wanted to get to him, and I also wanted to get a feel for what Texas is getting in Rasheem Biles, just to get get a look at.
Yesterday was Anthony Hill.
Yeah, I love Ant. The funny thing about Ant, I don't know if you listen to any of his press conferences, but he still kind of has that. He's matured a bit, but he still has that like.
No, you can say it.
Yeah, but he's got a voice. Like his voice is really like he sounds like a kid. Yeah. And I remember it being a thing in high school where like he just terrorized this opposing team. Like he'd play both sides of the ball. He'd always lead his team in tackles. He was good for a turnover every game. Just terrorized this opposing team, and he always wore like a black visor, like a tinted visor, so no one could really look at who it is. And like, it's like sophomore year, and people are still kind of figuring out who he is, and it's like, oh, who's this like massive nightmare linebacker that just terrorizes us? And then they get in the line after the game, and they're walking by, and it's like, oh, I got to figure out who this kid is. And they're like, good game, good game, good game, good game, good game. And they're like, wait, that was the guy? Are you kidding me?
Were you surprised by Jacob Rodriguez's athleticism?
No. I mean, like he's versatile as heck. Like, he's played all over. Like I thought he'd test well.
Although, and I'll say this because I've had to do these, and I always look at comps to go almost 39 inches in your vertical, which is explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I would have expected more than a 10-1 broad. Right?
Sure.
I mean,
some of that's been really interesting. There's been a couple of those verts where I'm like, okay, like verts to broads, where I'm like, okay.
Lewis did a 39.5.
Conversely, Lewis goes almost 40, and he jumps 10.9, which is about what I would expect.
Yeah.
That's a 36-inch vert, but I could standing broad jump 10.4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of my...
When you get to almost 40, you should be pushing like 10.6 to 11.
So I felt like that was interesting in terms of sudden change, because that's how I correlate the two when I'm looking at it on tape. It's like, okay, well, how does that translate? We're just talking about numbers. It's the ability to change directions quickly or to play at a 45.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's something for Rodriguez, because 10-1 is nothing to sneeze at. It's pretty fantastic. But you look at his instincts and you start to put together why he was what he was. Because for only a 1.610, which isn't
not crazy.
So yeah, it's okay.
It's fine.
The gaining speed, the 4.57 at the a 1.6 should not go with the 4.57.
Yeah.
And I think so for him, his ability to gain ground and he had a really nice short shuttle. I think it was 4.1. You can see how his recognition is at an elite level when you add it to his twitch.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's earned some money just off of the tape was good, but there was, I think, some questions about the
athlete. He confirmed that he's actually a good athlete.
Yeah, so it was good to see that. 'Cause, I think that was the rep on him during the season too, was just kind of like, these college linebackers that are gritty and tough, but not really good athletes. It's like I think Jacob Rodriguez is a pretty sound athlete. So glad we're getting some confirmation on that as well. There was something else I wanted to talk combine wise.
How about Anthony Hill going 4.51 at 238?
Yeah, he's nuts. He's a crazy athlete, man. Like I'm going to be curious to see what this ultimately looks like.
That's a big dude.
Yeah. And it still really much felt like in high school was like this, where it felt like he was still kind of losing some of the baby fat and still growing into it. And I still feel like that kind of where his frame could look a little different 2-3 years into the league, than what it currently does. Okay, where do y'all think? Because this is the debate that's popped up this week. He's talked about it himself, and the first time ever talking, sounds like. But Jay-Sean Barham's got positional versatility, where some people see him as an edge, some people see him as a linebacker in space. I just kind of think what we saw from him, and after how he's tested and measured in, I'm just kind of in the boat of just stick at edge. Don't try anything.
I think he's an edge.
Yeah, I don't know. He's talked about some teams have talked about him as off ball. He's open to it. He wants to try. And it's I just play edge.
What do you think about a guy like what's his buckets from Oregon, Bryce?
Bocher?
Yeah, who didn't? I know he didn't run his 40, but for as productive as he was, what do you think?
No, I mean, I love the violence. I love the Senior Bowl from him. I think it was the Senior Bowl, right? Because that's where he was at. Yeah, the Senior Bowl practices from him. But and just in general, I thought he did a lot on that Oregon defense, where vocally and just kind of as a leader was counted on to do a lot. I'm a fan. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting draft because I think some of the position value stuff's going to get thrown out the window. I mean, you're already seeing just off of how he's tested and where this draft is, Sonny Styles is going to be one of the best players available, and you never see a linebacker go top 5. I think he could this year. But off of that, I wonder if there's a run at all once Styles and Reese are off the board. I can see Bryce in the second round, back into the second round, into the third potentially. And I think regardless of where he goes, I think that's a guy where, I'd have him on the, there's a couple of these guys where, there are different levels of it. Different levels of really instinctual, smart players, but varying levels of athleticism. Bryce is one of those guys. I think Torian York's one of those guys. Jacob Rodriguez. I think of those three, I think Bryce and Jacob are a tier better athletes than Torian. But I can see a world where all three of those guys have a pretty solid NFL career just off the fact that they're really instinctual second level defenders who read really well and are from a mental standpoint are capable of leading a defense.
Surprised that Bane only weighed in at 267.
Yeah. That's a I think the weight more
for me, I'm like 267 with only 30.5
I
inch
was
arms.
more concerned about that or the arms.
The wing I knew. I mean, the wing I knew coming out of high school, like that was a thing, and it's why like schools like I mean, when I covered Michigan, Michigan was on him, and then they backed off. Like he was in attendance for that. I went back and I was scrolling back between old texts. He was in attendance when Michigan was down in Miami for the Orange Bowl. As a junior in high school, and then I left the beat. I went to A&M. A&M had gotten in on Bane, so we maintained our relationship, and I was texting a little bit with him, and so both schools were on him, but ultimately both schools backed down because of the size. They didn't know where to put him. And Miami, they made this mistake with other guys. They have made this mistake with other guys that Nebraska's been on the benefiting end on, but Miami just saw the production, was kind of all in, and brought him in. So the size thing was at least the wingspan stuff was known because it was like, oh, well, he's this, but he's productive. But also word is he's got this wingspan. And so that's been a thing. The weight is something I didn't expect. And I don't, on one hand, I'm like, okay, I think it's probably fine because, a lot of the ways he wins, and someone pointed this out yesterday, a lot of the ways he wins on tape already negates the short. Like he knows himself. He knows who he is as a player where like, it's fine. Like the short wing thing is not going to affect him at the next level.
Because of his knockback, because of his explosiveness off the ball. Like I agree. I just wonder if it's still going to be good, if it's as dominant. Because you just look at the tape and you're like, oh God, this guy's a killer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do worry about the size.
He's not a top 5 player in the draft.
He's what I call, he's a head snapper. Like I always tell guys, like you want to be a head snapper, right? With that knockback, and he's so explosive at getting into guys. Will he still be have that elite level twitch, at the next level? If he does, I mean, you're right. He's played with those turtle arms his whole life. Like I'm pretty sure he knows how to navigate it.
Yeah, so that's the thing where I'm fine with it, but I do worry about the weight when it's like, okay, well, you got to set the edge, and you also got to like hold your own. Like I don't know. I'm just, I'm worried about it. I think it'll be okay. It might be one of those things where we overthink it and it's fine. But like if we're overthinking it and it's fine, it's like, hey, well, this kid's just he's kind of one of one, unique. Like he's not. This isn't a trend of any sort. Like this is a one of one thing.
So let me ask, because I he was listed at 270 at Miami. Like we're talking about 7 pounds.
Usually you do what you need to do to get ready
to make
for
sure right. So is that the bigger concern? Is that like
I mean maybe
get ready versus
maybe it's not alarming
number?
from what he weighed in at, but
okay.
I think he knew what was working against him.
Okay.
I think there was also a general belief that he was on the light end of 270. Like the 270 was like, hey, that's what he's listed at, but like we think he's playing closer to like 280, 285. Like
okay,
that was the word through the season, especially once we were getting into like playoffs. Was like I remember like draft people on the side of the being like, look, this is 270, but we feel like it looks closer to 280. So again, I don't know where that was coming from, but like there was a general belief he would measure in closer on the north end of 270. And coming under that, I think, is where people are like, okay.
Gotcha.
When you're talking about, Tim, I'm kind of looking at, Nebraska and where they want to go with this portal. We kind of touched on it last week with guys that you're looking forward to seeing. If you had to kind of like pencil in level of impact of guys that they've got out of the portal, is the level of importance different than who you think will have the most impact, or is your impact guys that you think will be impactful based on because of the need?
That's interesting. I would lean to the second just because Nebraska had to address some needs in the portal, and I thought they did a good job. Like, that's the thing. You could just address needs by stamping, obviously, like a Band-Aid on it and being like, well, we addressed the need. I do think the needs they had, they did find guys capable of, like, not just meeting that need, but, like, exceeding expectations and, like, being an impact player. I think about the second level, the guys they got there. I think about the offensive line, what they got there. And I don't know. I mean, like, where would you classify? Like, I would classify like Gilmer as not a need, but like, but I think he's a guy that's going to be an impact player.
I do think he's flying under the radar in terms of what we like, because we like the wide receiver room.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I
Like,
agree with that. That's a good. Yeah, he's been fantastic so far, but in terms of like air quotes need, those don't line up for how good I think he's been.
yeah, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised when Nebraska got him, just because I was like, okay, well, Nebraska's in this mix, but like, how much are they going to be willing to spend, and how much are they going to, how much are they really going to push for like a receiver like this in this cycle? And they pushed and they got him, and so I was happy to see that. Felt like he was the, let's go make a splash land this cycle kind of ad. We're like, we don't need this, but like, he's really going to help. Like, we're going to like, it's going to help in the season to have a guy like Quasi Gilmer. That's the one I think is like I don't even know how to say it, but you're like icing on the cake kind of ad, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I thought at linebacker they did a good job, not just addressing the need, but like going above and beyond and finding impact players and like really turning around the depth of that room. I think the additions they made up front are capable of addressing the need. We'll see about making a difference, but they're capable of addressing the need at the very least. So, yeah, and then I mean, defensive back, like, that's another one where was it a need necessarily? No, I don't. I mean, I think they could have. Maybe they needed a guy, but I think they could have found competent, capable play from guys in the room. Like to have but like to go out and get that. As I'm talking myself into this, maybe I am more of the impact players are not necessarily addressing need, because I do think, like, I don't know if the impact players are coming on the D line, which was the biggest need, but I do think the impact players are coming at the second and third level of defense, the offensive line, and at receiver. And QB, which I guess was a need, but
slot the O-line guys for me, in your opinion.
Ranking them?
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of impact, in terms of upside, how do you want me to do this?
I think with just the three, these may be more similar.
Yeah.
Let's say impact this year.
Yeah, let's say impact this year.
Okay, impact this year, I would go Black, Babalade, Mubenga in that order, just because I do think Mubenga will still need to win that job decisively. I think he will, and I think he can. I still think he needs to, though. And I think there's some questions on Babalade's tape. I think what you're getting in Black. I think it's going to be very sound. I think, you needed to kind of find a guy that brings the same juice. And it's not one for one, but bring juice like Rocco Spins or Brock Juice. And I think he does that. I think the really good on Babalade's tape is really good. And I do think I don't think the lows are necessarily, they pop up as much as they do as like Pritchett's Bama tape, but the lows are still there on his tape and they're not great. So it's something that's going to have to develop. But I do think like the highs on it, where like he's a dominant striker when he's in, like Tree's the guy who he gets hands on you, you're going backwards. And for Nebraska to have two guys like that on both ends of the line, it's going to be unique. It's going to be something we haven't seen. I mean, when was the last time Nebraska had like guys? At least, I think Babalade in particular is going to have to play his way to that. But you have an established tackle, and you have another guy on the other side, like with that same dominant power, who, by midseason, this could be one of the better tackle duos we've seen from Nebraska.
If you changed it to just overall upside of those three guys, does your order change?
Yeah, I would probably swap straight out. I'd probably put Babalade first, and then I'd swap Mubenga and Black. I think Mubenga's got the longer term upside. He just needs to continue developing that striking power and that upper body strength.
If you're talking about, let's get off of O-line and talk second and third level guys defensively. How do you kind of see it?
Immediate impact, I think number one. If we're doing an impact again, I think Chambliss has to be 1, McDougal 2, Foster Diggs, Evans. If you're doing upside, ooh. Yeah. I think upside, like Foster. I mean, but Chambliss is a good athlete and smart, man. We could be talking about him this time next year in these very same combine settings about trying to figure out where he's testing at to figure out where he's going, because I do think both of these guys are capable NFL. I just think when I look at Dexter Foster, I see a player longer term that is capable of being maybe a top 60 pick, because I think he's very fluid and big and athletic, and I think he does a lot of the linebacker stuff well. So I think maybe I'm just going to be on this island that Dexter Foster has better upside, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to put Foster above Chambliss. Foster, Chambliss. I mean, honestly, in terms of what people are looking for in a modern day linebacker, he may not have an impact this year at all. But Will Hawthorne, I think, is going to be worth tracking because of his athleticism at the position. And Nebraska loved him coming out of high school, because I mean, the way they straight up put it was, and I've put this in my scouting report to match it, he plays football with that old school mentality you're looking for, but has the new age athleticism everyone wants. The athletic markers you're looking for in a modern day linebacker, he has all of that. He ran track, he played running back at a high level in college. He's a captain, he's played all over the defense, he's done a lot of these different things. And so Hawthorne's a guy that I may have above any of the guys in the secondary. I think all three of those guys in the secondary are going to be impact players, or at least two of the three I think are capable of being impact players at Nebraska. Vic very well is going to be in that rotation and could be an impact player, but just need to see it a little more from him. But specifically those top two guys, I think they're capable of being impact players. I don't know from an upside standpoint what's beyond. I think McDougal there's something intriguing in the fact that he's a sound run defender. He triggers downhill well. He's pretty, he's built, prototype. He's not he's not going to wow you with his frame, but he's got enough size to hold his own. He moves around. He can drop into coverage. He can come down. There's a need for, these top end safeties that can go sideline to sideline. He can be this true single high safety if he needs to be, and I think there's a desire for that. So I would probably slot him in there over Shiggs just off of that. But as we get into this and into spring, I like what I've seen on Shiggs on tape, and I like the size. I need to figure out what kind of athlete he's, and I think I won't figure that out until we get around him. I want to see him move around for myself, but I want to figure out what kind of athlete Shiggs is.
Tim, do you think are you surprised at all that for as maligned as the defensive line was, we don't talk about the guys they added that much, whether it's Whittington, Stoudemire, or Jones? It seems like we talk about a lot of the guys, and maybe for good reason, because I like a lot of the guys that are coming back. We talk a lot about the guys that are coming back. Almost no one is talking about what they brought in. So I'll ask you, how do you slot those guys in terms of both upside and immediate impact? Because most people have not had that conversation, it doesn't seem like.
Ooh, yeah, and this is a tough one just because I there's a lot of questions with all of these guys. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations about Anthony Jones since we saw him. Off the hoof, that guy looks incredible. And I mean, I think I had this discussion with y'all coming out of the portal too, of he was a guy that I think a lot of people just kind of shrugged at when Nebraska added him. But you go back and look at the tape last year, there was a couple times where I felt there was a good bit where I felt, oh, he's just a beat off, or okay, he's creating pressure, but he's not there. He's just a beat off. He just has to get there. And I mean, the UNLV game, I feel like there was a couple moments where it's okay, he's just a beat off from getting Calandria. If Calandria wasn't Anthony Calandria, if he wasn't that twitchy athlete, he's probably there. And you pair that with what Roy Manning does well, per Rob Origin, Manning himself, working that top of the rush, I mean, that ideally at least on paper, it looks like a pairing where, you have a guy who is already pretty sound run defender and can hold his own at the edge, and, can give Nebraska quality starting level snaps off the edge, and just needs some work as a pass rush, and you pair him with a guy that can, get him to that next level. I weirdly think, year one impact, Jones might end up being the guy we see the most of in 2026. That said, I think snap to snap, I think Whittington is the most like, I think he's the one that's capable of like, I think individually, I think he's the guy that I think is capable of like shutting down a play before it really even gets going, just because of how quick he is and how explosive he is. And Stoudemire, I'm still getting a feel for, to be
He's the
quite
one that
honest.
doesn't look like the others. Like he's a legit squatty body.
Yeah. So and you know we just talked about it, you know, on Wednesday about, you know, this like them playing, you know, gap and a half, and I thought it was good to hear Corey Brown talk about playing attack react, like, but then you look at like, you know, you look at Whittington and you're like, okay, well he fits like attack react.
Yeah,
Stoudemire,
four down, man, 1-on-1s.
Stoudemire kind of does it. Like Stoudemire could be more read attack, you know, like he can be more of that if they need him to be, but like you know, I'm good. I'm just curious to see what it looks like. I from a frame standpoint, I understand now that they are like, okay, we are attack. Like I understand why they went out and got the guys they did. Like you can't have multiple 330 pounders on a attack react front, you know, like that's just not, you just can't. Like I mean, they have to be exceptional movers, both of them, for that, and there aren't that many of those type of guys out there. But yeah, like I'm curious to see what Stoudemire looks like. He's the one I kind of just have an asterisk over, just in terms of like, you know, ideally he's a guy that's giving you starting level defensive tackle snaps. Ideally, he's a guy that's consistently getting you better matchups off the edge, like, you know, opening things up and helping the second level and cleaning things up for the second level to kind of, you know, clean up. But you know, I mean, would it surprise you guys if we're midway through the season and from a snap count standpoint, Dylan Behrman's starting to creep up on Stoudemire?
It's hard with D linemen that are young. Like you just don't know how they take on rigor. Like some of that is just being able to do the monotonous, like the grind every day. And sometimes that's not talent specific.
Yeah, and I think, like, and that's when you think about that, like, I think the young guys in that room, particularly Terry and
Simpson.
Not Simpson, Terry and Behrman. I think both those guys are capable of doing that dirty work day in and day out. I mean, again, Dylan Behrman, like, for 4 years now, has played offensive and defensive line at the high school level and been pretty good. Like, you know, he's a guy that has a pretty high motor. I think he's capable of doing the dirty work. Simpson too. Like Simpson's going to be Simpson. I'm very high on Simpson as a 3 tech. We'll just see about. I want to see it in terms of his like capacity for rigor, because he's a guy that there was some of that in high school where I was like, when the going gets tough, sometimes he backs down. So we'll need to see it. We'll need to see it. We'll need to see it from him.
If by the end, who would you say by the end of the year you'd be the least surprised to be getting the most snaps, whether it's Stoudemire, Berryman, or Tyson Terry?
Terry, to be honest, by the end of the season.
Yeah, by the end of the year, who out of that group, who do you think is getting the most snaps?
Ooh. No, you know what? I'm going to change I'm going to change it to Bear. And again, maybe I'm optimistic, overly optimistic. But I think about the impact like Jaden Jackson had as a young player at Oklahoma. I think about the impact even like again, and I don't think this is what Behrman's going to be, but like Byron Murphy at a young age at Texas had, like, guys that win with leverage, are violent, that look like that at 330, muscled up, like that can just carry that size and at that the way he does. One, they're tough to find, and two, like, I don't know how much of an adjustment there's going to be even with the summer, like him enrolling in the summer. Like, I think that's going to be the early part of the season, but it really wouldn't surprise me if Dylan Behrman's a mainstay along the defensive line the entire month of November.
Tim, when you're taking a look at like the quarterback play, you just referred to, did you say freaky twitchy? What did you say about
twitchy? Just twitchy.
When you're looking at kind of the dynamics of what each of these quarterbacks brings to the table, is there a value on the skill sets you think they possess over the other? Is it Calandria's athleticism? Is it Kalen's pure passing? Is it Latif's familiar? Like, what is there something that you think is kind of the thing that they can rally around?
It's hard for me not to say just Calandria's, like, I don't even say athleticism, like gamesmanship. Like, I think that's a guy that just, like, the feel of the game is there for him. You know what I mean? I think he really developed that towards the back, like at Virginia and into UNLV, where I think he really developed like a playmaking instinct and really developed this, like, on top of the athleticism, like, just knows what to do. And again, there's obviously going to be some mistakes that I think everyone that's talked about Calandria has mentioned that about him, of like, hey, you're going to live and die with the good and the bad with him. But I like, if you have to pick one to lean on, knowing what we know about the staff and knowing what they just like, they want good football players. And I think purely what we've seen from Calandria has been the external traits on top of what he does well as a quarterback this is a good football player. So I think it's hard not to go with him, just because, like, again, like from I just, because, I think they value at this point being able to create off structure, off the run, and based on, I think, and part of that is based on what I think they know they're going to see this year. You're going to have to do stuff off schedule, and the pocket is going to break down against Oregon and Indiana and Ohio State, and some of these games, you're going to face against Iowa, and some of these teams you're going to have to win to reach, or to reach your goals. And so I think for all of those reasons, I think it's hard not to go with Calandria. But I do wonder a little bit about Danny's pure passing just in a vacuum. But ultimately, I think knowing what the staff wants, where this team is headed, I just, it's the gamesmanship of Calandria, if that makes sense. Like, if the gamesmanship makes sense.
Yeah. You can definitely see it. He's not short on confidence. He's got a lot of bravado. And I think, as long as the players embrace it, it can definitely be an attribute. Sometimes it's hard for new guys to come in and rock like that, but I don't think that's an issue for AC.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Like, I mentioned it. I was talking about it with Steve on the phone yesterday about, something we're not really talking about when it comes to some of these transfers. Like, most of the guys Nebraska's counting on to be like impact transfers, this isn't really like their first go around in the portal or anything like that. They're all kind of all business. Like Jones at defensive end, like, was pleasantly surprised to talk to him, and he's like, it's business as usual. Like, I gotta keep my head down, and I just kind of try and earn my keep as a through the work. And so that was encouraging to hear. Calandria's transferred before. Seems like he's already gelling in pretty well and knows how to kind of navigate this, because for like the young guys, the freshmen, they get their hand held a little bit that first semester, a little bit, not much, but you still are thrown into the fire. It's very much different than the recruiting process. But for transfers in particular, sometimes you can kind of get lost in the mud, or lost in the mix. Like, you just kind of get thrown into this new team, and you're a transfer. They're counting on you to be a guy, and if you're not the guy, then it gets tough, or not gets tough, but like, if you're not the guy, then they'll easily just be like, all right, we're moving on to the next one. Like, they're not going to invest in you learning how to do it right, learning how to go within the program. You just kind of have to pick it up faster than some of the freshmen do, or not faster, but like, you just have to pick it up, and you don't have the same grace that the freshmen do. And I think Nebraska, at the positions they needed leaders to step up and needed to add leaders, that they found guys capable of quickly meshing and kind of stepping up as leaders without causing too much of a fuss and too much drama.
Yeah, I think I was just talking about this with one of the staffers yesterday. I think that's a sneaky good, or maybe I said it. Did I say it on here? I think one of the advantages to starting earlier, Tim, is so many guys on campus, you don't have that getting acclimated with nothing to do period, where there's only so much of Lincoln you can see. There's only so much of the campus you can experience, where if you're actually playing ball, like that's a great chemistry setter where you can see guys active and you're spending time together at the facility doing ball. Like I think it's a nice little way to get acclimated quicker if you're out on the field with some commonalities.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think
sitting
and
around
even for like some of these.
you know what I mean, and lifting weights with each other where there's just going to be those times where you're getting on each other. Like if you're playing, it's easier because you're busy being busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those coaches too, those new coaches, like it's just a quick way, an easy way for them to just get familiar and get around this and start building some of these relationships.
Tim, last one for me. DB and I earlier in the week did an exercise about naming some off the radar guys for spring ball that you think by the end of spring might have maybe a larger impact than we're thinking right now. We did 5. You don't have to.
I definitely would change mine.
You don't have to do 5, but give me a couple here that you're looking at.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to go Cortez Mills in the receiver room. I think there's a lot of excitement about like guys like Quinn Clark and Jeremiah Jones, things like that. Cortez Mills was highly ranked for a reason, very talented pass catcher, do a lot of things. Don't think we're talking about him enough. I'll go Cortez Mills at receiver. I'll go, and maybe this is I've talked about him a lot out here. You know, I'm kind of one of, if not the leader of the hype train, but Luke Sorensen,
okay,
tight end.
No, not the leader. We'll share. Share.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
You can be the 1 or the 4. I'll be the other of the relay team. We'll share.
On the defensive side of the ball, you know, I'm really fascinated by Jordan Ochoa. I'm going to go Ochoa. I think you can go a few different places there, but I'm going to go Ochoa. And then my final pick is going to be in the DB room. I'll go Larry Tarver. I think he came back for a reason. I think he's a piece of player. I can see happening, but I'll go with Tarver. Maybe that's crazy. No, you know, I'll switch it. I'll switch to Amari Sanders. I'm a little more sure on what I know about Amari Sanders. So I'll go with Amari Sanders. Because we haven't seen a whole lot of him, but the staff is excited about him, and I think he's going to be in the mix.
He's a good kid. He's, you know, again, another one of those guys I enjoy giving. He's a good kid. He can play too. He's got sneaky good size.
Yeah, like north end of 6 foot, right? Like 6'1".
Yeah, he's deceptively long.
Yeah.
There you go. That's Tim VERGHESE inside Nebraska. Tim, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, y'all too. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, TV.
That's Tim VERGHESE.
Sanders is a guy that I steal hugs from.
Yeah. Well, you one of yours. Ochoa was one of yours, wasn't it?
Yeah. You
said you would change a couple?
I would change probably one.
That's called a tease.
Yeah.
You hold on to that one.
I don't even know if I want to say.
All right.
Maybe
I'll guess.
Do I have to confirm? Or
I mean, usually your silence and facial expressions tell a lot.
Can't see me.
That's Fred Hoiberg. Nailed it. That's Emma Johnson.
Well, good for you.
4 in a row, baby.
On the second to last day of the month, you finally got a brother.
4 in a row. No, I've had a brother for my whole life. Shout out Raj.
Barely know his name.
Well, you don't know his full government because it's a nickname.
Rajesh.
There you go. Somebody listens. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, first of all, you know, we've talked a lot about our mistakes, but I'd be remiss to not credit DePaul. Coach Holtman's done a great job. They're really connected on the defensive end of the floor. They make things very difficult for you. And, you know, we got, as Nick said, you know, we got casual with the ball a few times, and they just took it from us, and then, you know, they're off to the races. But I told my staff, you know, 6 or 7 weeks ago when I'd watched DePaul some, that this team's they're going to finish somewhere in the middle of the league. This is not a team that's going to be at the bottom like they've been in the past, and that's a credit to to Coach Holtman and his staff and that team. I don't think much about that, John. Obviously, we've had a great run of success. We're all disappointed that this year hasn't gone the way that we had hoped it has gone.
I thought Maryland did a really good job coming out of the half, just playing with more effort, especially on the offensive glass. I think they got to +8 rebound margin at one point, and we were able to come back and win the rebounding margin, which was one of the keys of our game. So once we adjusted to kind of their adjustment, that's when it started to flip, and we threw a different defense at them. But, a lot of it was just getting those rebounds where we get into offense quicker and run in transition. That's really when the game flipped.
Yeah, I mean, one thing Coach Hoiberg talks about a lot is when the shot's not falling, go do something to make a play, get that energy going that other way. So I think getting on the floor, going after rebounds and stuff like that kind of just got me back in, and I think that really helps with the confidence with getting the ball going in the hoop.
The first thing is I think they're really good. And I think offensively they're mesmerizing just because of their ball and body movement. But I think defensively they're just as unique. I think that some of those transition threes that we gave up in the first half off live ball turnovers are just hard to overcome. I know that they shoot a lot of threes, but when you give them the ball and they're able to shoot it early in the clock in an uncontested broken floor, I thought that was probably the difference in that run in the first half. I know we started with consecutive stops, but we turned the ball over at too high of a rate on the road against them, and then we didn't get fouled near enough to give us a chance.
To Hurrdat Sports Live.
Oh, probably honestly a couple weeks into it. Yeah. Once those players start understanding your message and you're like, I tried to give them this, they actually got it, and now they're successful, and you see that, whether it's on the practice field or during a game, it's just immediate feedback and being rewarding for me.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. DB, how are we doing this morning?
We're good. You're just not. You didn't get a chance to check on me.
I know, because we jumped right in with Tim. So I'm trying to check in.
I felt
now.
like after Once I heard you made my man Kobe mad, I was like, how'd these guys piss Kobe off without me here? Only I can piss Kobe off.
No, Kobe likes it when you're here. Everybody likes it when you're here.
Well, you guys made him mad.
No, I think
was Kobe okay?
Maybe I think he's okay now. We got into football stuff. I think he was okay after that.
All right. I'm the only one that gets to piss Kobe off. You guys start pissing him off, I have to fix it.
How was the football stuff this morning?
It's good.
Yeah?
It's good. Really good, man. We excited. It's exciting.
Well, I know you got excited about seeing your guy Cole Payton up at the podium.
Yeah, I felt like he's going to represent himself well.
Yeah.
He's not just talking about lip service. I don't know if AJ, how quick Jimmy Neutron can get those clips rolling for us, but it's not just lip service when he talks about Omaha.
Yeah.
He comes back here and he trains. He's constantly up at the school.
I'll say, is he training up at the high school?
He's just a really, really good ambassador.
Yeah.
What I think people are going to figure out through the interviewing process, that's a guy you want in your locker room. And he's a winner.
Yeah.
He's an absolute winner, and he's extremely gifted. So, yeah, I'm all in on CP. We can't say CP in our. I'm all in on Cole Payton. It's tough at our place. So one of the guys this morning at the meeting had on it's clearly a Creighton Blue Jays hoodie, but it's Carolina blue. It has the big Blue Jay. Coaches go over to him and they said, "Hey, you're pushing it." I was like, man, what if that's all he had today?
It's tough out here, a lot of
pressing.
I appreciate they should have liked it that they have the fortitude to still wear the hoodie with the season that's been going on.
Oh man, he's a good kid too. Even it's just a way of life over there.
Yeah,
it's bred.
Stay mean spirited.
So yeah, I remember Caleb played so many years with the Little Vikes, and he came over, and the first time he was at practice, he had on blue cleats. Coach Freund sent me a message, and he's like, "Hey, we don't do that around here." I was like, "I'm poor. He has to wear those for a while." No. That's just how they get
You're
down.
just like, yeah, he's gonna wear those until he can't wear those anymore.
Actually, he's like, he guilted me into it too. He's like, well, I'm just, and Coach Freund is really good at not allowing you to make excuses. He can quickly flip it.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter what my response was gonna be. It's just like, all right,
box you in.
Just get some new cleats. No problem, Coach. You won't show up in those again. My bad.
Makes it a little easier. Just be like, all right.
But he's serious about Omaha and represent. I love the combines.
Yeah, me too.
I'm mad that there's actually good college basketball tonight because
can't lock in on the combine.
Oh, I'm gonna lock in though. I'm gonna lock in. I want to see our young ladies. I don't know if I'm gonna go watch them play district hoops, but they're in the finals against a scrappy Lincoln bunch. So. Did a team dinner for them yesterday.
Nice.
They enjoyed.
There you go. How what'd you have? What'd you serve?
You're not even gonna believe this because you don't like to cook, so it's not it doesn't make a hill of beans to you.
Oh, you told me about this.
And Sasha was like, "Hey, there's a cup. I gotta go." She's like, "What?" She's looking at me like I'm just being a dick, right? It's like, "No, I gotta go." She's like, in her head, it's like, "Oh, probably because you want pictures." I'm like, "Listen. I have some meat on the grill, and it's a gateway drum. So it's briquettes, it's lump charcoal, and it's wood.
Yeah.
It's not pellets set to a timer. I started it at 2 a.m.
because of course you were up,
right? Just the time worked out. So I once it got to like 167 at probably 5. No, it was like 6:10.
So right before you're about to leave.
So I'm in no man's land.
Yeah.
Because I want to shower after because I don't want to come smelling like smoke.
Sure.
So I'm like, thank God it's only a 4-minute drive. So I waited to the last minute to wrap it. Hopped in the shower, got here. I left the gateway drum. Get this. Set the valves. It has valves. I know I'm within 230 to 250 when I set the valves at just this little sliver. I don't know about the weather. I don't know about the wind. I don't know if I have enough charcoal. I'm just hoping.
Mhm.
I came home. That thing was pinned on 240.
Nice.
I didn't even go through the front door. I didn't let my dogs out. I jumped my back fence. It was so ghetto fab. I mean, ghetto fabulous. Your boy hopped the fence, went right around to the. I swear to
Man,
goodness.
you've got a gate back there. I've
Man,
gone
listen.
through it.
Listen, it's. I was just feeling athletic. I was stressed. Why you think I was standing during the show yesterday?
I don't know. Sometimes you do weird stuff. I don't
Man,
ask
listen, your
questions.
boy was shredding bullets. I was like, did the coal go out? Did it spike? I'm literally operating blind.
Yeah.
I might have
smoked it too.
Exactly. So I go back around front, I hit the garage code, I go back in and I get the thermometer. I put that joker in. 209 on the dot. Damn near perfect for the pool.
Yeah.
Caught a break.
Let's go, baby.
I was so excited that because it's kind of luck of the draw. Like
Yeah.
a lot can happen
Yeah.
without me being there.
Like you did all you could to prepare for it, but you kind of.
So the only person I know that would get it is Heath. I'm calling him 30 times. I was like, Heath, man, I got a story. He texts me back. Look, bro, I'm on a Zoom with Hurrdat. Stop calling me. I was like, oh, you're on with my company? That's great. Hope the advertising campaign's going well. Got a funny story for you. Bye.
My bad.
Because he's a smoker.
Bro.
He's a smoker. That's how he talks.
Yeah.
That's how he talks. I mean, I totally caught a break. It was unbelievable.
That's funny.
I did send severe pictures.
Did you?
But I don't think he gets it because he's a Traeger guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not thumbing my nose up. It's just much easier to control. That's why people don't do long smokes on barrels.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Hard to control.
The temperature's finicky and
You just like to taste better though.
it's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that tells you it's the same as lying. They're lying.
They're lying to you.
Yes. That's why there's stick burning competitions. That's why there's pellet competitions. That's why there's, briquette. Like it's not
Like
all-
different weight classes.
Yeah,
like we're doing
not
different
all
stuff.
not all Q is created.
We're
equal.
doing some different stuff.
Yeah, your boy. I was like, I felt like the fence was gonna give.
When
I
you
gave it
hopped
the
it?
rock.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, felt a little loose.
You gotta be careful there.
Felt a little loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hopped my own fence. Neighbors are probably like, damn black people.
Surprise, surprise.
Not today or tomorrow. Maybe Sunday.
Well, I got
To this day.
Lupe and my other neighbor on the corner too, so they helped me represent.
Yeah.
Yes. Team Brown.
Oh, Lupe Fiasco.
Yep. It's my dude.
Somebody asked if you were finally sleeping in the chat this morning, and
Yeah, I didn't. I missed a whole night of sleep.
And
Literally a whole night. Like
and Scott said, nope, saw him up at 0 dark 30. He's not.
Yeah, I got no problems. Yesterday, I did not go to bed last night.
Funky
or
says,
night before last.
Sir Moylan on the fence jump assist.
No, that's supposed to help me sleep. I need to start drinking that stuff. I'm like, are you sure it's only 10 mils? I might need 100.
Oh, I take more than that.
No, he told me. You know they babysit. Nick is like 10.
I think I'm at 25.
No, everything else is 25.
I'll have to check the bottle. I don't remember. I think I'm at 25 a day. Maybe I'm overdosing on that. Maybe that's why I feel so
Maybe
good.
that's why you sleep so well.
Maybe. Like a baby.
What time did I text you late or early?
Early, I think. No, it wasn't too early. It was like 6.
Oh.
With the TikTok?
Yeah, I thought the TikTok was earlier.
No, I was right at 6.
Good morning again.
I was up by the time you sent that.
I'm an old head, and some of our guys in the stream are old. So I follow a couple of people on TikTok that do like old school college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to send that to you.
Yeah, those lineups were crazy.
It was 1990 LSU versus Georgia
Especially
Tech.
LSU. Georgia Tech was good too, but LSU was
Mackey was a pro. Kenny Anderson was a freshman.
Yeah.
Kenny Anderson was playing point guard against Chris Jackson.
Well, then you had Dennis Scott.
Yeah.
In there as well.
Brian Oliver.
And then you
was
had
sweet.
Stanley Roberts, Shaq, Chris Jackson on LSU.
Yeah, and
Like, it
Vernon
was
Singleton. And
stupid.
And Shaq said Stanley Roberts
he said he used to give him the business.
Was the best non-productive NBA player he's ever seen.
Yeah.
He said that about Stanley Robertson.
Yeah. He said he used to just dominate him. He's like the hardest person. He's at the hardest big he ever played was Stanley Roberts in
Dude,
practice.
those crowds were lit.
Yeah.
CBS used to do a night. I mean, they still do.
Yeah.
But like, I love that. You need to follow that TikTok
account. Yeah. I like that kind of stuff too.
I mean, it's
like that's in my sweet spot. I enjoy that kind of stuff.
So I may not. Once I gotta take Micah to the airport, get my ears lowered. I may not leave the house again.
Yeah.
Why not?
Lock it down. Lock it in.
Your boy needs. I need
some downtime.
Collect my thoughts. You see me hop the fence.
Yeah, let's not try and hop any more fences. You know,
dude, I was in a panic. I was like, this thing's gonna say like 350, and the meat is torched.
Nah, you're all good. You got it.
Got it. All I need is a miracle.
That is Mikey and the Mechanics. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla.
Is that true?
Yep.
Shane, is that fact or fiction?
Sounds pretty good to me.
All right.
Hats off to you, Ravi, for getting that.
Aficionado.
I randomly really enjoy that song. That's the only reason I know. Coming up next, we got Mike SAUTTER from Hurrdat Sports and NAB Preps. We'll be right back.
That's a good word for it, Robin. I actually thought Price had a couple good looks. He had a really good look on that first possession and had a good one in transition that unfortunately didn't go down. Jamarcus missed one at the rim, and I did think we guarded well, though. That kept us in it even when the ball. I think the whole first media timeout. I'm stupid enough to think in my head, I wonder how long the longest it's taken for the fans to have to sit down after a point. I thought we were going to set that record tonight, but listen, that's a talented team. I know I talked about that yesterday. They're playing really good basketball right now. Give credit to Buzz and their staff and their players for continuing to fight and battle. And they went out the first 8 or 9 minutes of the second half, and they got everything. They got all the loose balls. We couldn't finish possessions. I didn't like our body language. I talked about that in the huddle. We were down 3, and looking at their faces, it felt like we were down 20. So once we fixed that and started rebounding the ball, that got us out in transition. I told him, you can't run if you can't get the ball.
Yeah, I mean, just a great win for our guys. I got so much respect for Greg and his teams and the way they play and how hard they are to guard. This fan base is phenomenal. It's an 8 o'clock tip and the energy they provide. So this whole university and program I just have tremendous respect for, and it begins with my admiration for Greg. So he's been so good to me over the years in terms of win or lose, just been super gracious. And we really honestly, both games, our guys found a way late. We very easily could have lost both games. Our guys know that, but players win games, and our guys found a way to win this one, and BMAC obviously played a huge role in it.
Yeah, just the times I've been on the ice with him and just watching him play, I think that's a rare talent to have somebody with that ability. I mean, he's, one of the 12 best forwards in the whole country. So I think that's pretty special what he's done there. And yeah, again, even Lindsay, our academic advisor that kind of handles all our academics for our department. I won't butcher her last name, but it's she was just commenting on too how he, even though he left after his junior year, he finished his degree, and just the type of kid he was, and always nervous to making sure everything was done on time, and just how he conducted himself. So pretty special hockey player, and obviously made a good impact as a human being with his character as well.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, brought to you by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Mike Sautter, Hurrdat Sports and NEB Preps. What's up, Mike? How we doing?
Just getting draft prep. Get my draft work in.
You guys are going to take an off-ball linebacker at number 2. I can feel it.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, go Sautter.
What?
I felt a meltdown coming. Hopefully it's premature. Like
I'm very much so on record. I love Caleb Downs.
Okay.
But you can't take a safety at 2. Just because the money doesn't really line up, right? Like you can get a free agent safety for far less that is good enough and all of that, right?
Yeah, positional value.
Yeah. I mean, it's just at 2, yeah. But I do love him. I think he's great. Now, everything I'm reading is like he's Downs or Reese is like, we got like, remember Vernon Golston?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we drafted that guy. Hard bust. So bad. And he was like the dude, or like Caleb Downs is like Calvin Pryor. Remember Calvin Pryor from Louisville?
Oh, yeah.
We drafted him in the top 10, kind of a bust. So like, I'm a little leery on stuff like that, but the Vernon Golston, Arvell Reese thing, like Vernon Golston looked like Hercules and did all the drill, everything great, but he couldn't get to the quarterback. And so I'm a little leery about that. But Arvell Reese at
productive at Ohio State than Reese has been.
Yeah. I mean, Reese at 6'4", 241 ran a 4.46. And his 10 was 1.58. That's fast for a guy that big. I mean, Bailey was at what, 4.5 too.
Yeah, so right behind him.
Watch that. That was pretty good. And let's see what else. Sonny Styles though is super intriguing because that dude had a monster day yesterday. 11-2 broad jump.
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
That's freaky.
Yeah. And I've been watching some stuff today. And a 43.5-inch vertical. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, he's a true, middle linebacker, off-ball linebacker. And he's probably going to bench like 225 40 times a day. Like, that's just insane. So, do the Jets need a lot of help except for offensive linemen? Yes, absolutely. But I'm intrigued by all of the options, and I think Caleb Downs is probably more of like an Eric Berry instead of Calvin Pryor.
Okay.
All right, Sautter. Let's hop into it. What are you? Where are you at tonight?
Tonight I'll be at Westside for Omaha Westside girls.
No, I'm definitely not going. I was debating, but yeah, okay, we're good. They got you covered.
Yeah, I mean, I figured and tonight's one of those nights I would like to be in multiple places, but every game starts at 5:30 or 6, right? So you can't quite get to everywhere, or at least a game and a half or something. It's not real feasible that way. If there was a 6 and a 7, I could do that. But I think I decided to go to Westside tonight. Because I think that one has potential to be maybe the most competitive, like in Omaha, I guess. The Southwest Miller North girls game at Southwest, I think, is going to be decently competitive. But that's in Lincoln, and I drive to Lincoln enough right now, and I'd rather maybe not. So
hey, how close is Miller North to missing out on that influx of talent they had a couple of years ago with that good freshman class?
Well, I think it looks like they're gonna whoever loses that Southwest Miller North game is pretty much gonna get the wild card. So make it, but then like
I mean, he did a good job stockpiling, like building up the kind of that buzz of that good young group.
Right. And now I mean, there's still more of that. They're still there and more of it there. But yeah, like the window, like I think you're asking me, is the window closing? Maybe a little bit, yeah. So you just got to restart it, right? Like and Coach Paulson does a great job. And actually saw him last Sunday, 2 weeks ago, after helping coach my daughter's 9U YMCA team, where we got beat by a team we should not have gotten beat by. And then I was like, man, now I know what it feels like to lose a game that you feel like you should have won, and just sad, and you feel mad and angry and depressed and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, welcome to the club. So yeah. And I even was like, look, man, it's 9U YMCA girls basketball. We're not, but at the same time, you just, you know, you feel like let one get away and you don't feel good about it. So
yeah. He's quietly pretty intense. I don't even know if it's quiet, but I like Paul. I mean, he had Maya for a couple of years. He's pretty intense. I don't mind it at all.
He's a good dude. Like I like Coach Paulson a lot. I've known him since he was at Bergen coaching boys and Adam Dykeman. So
he was at Boygan.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. Feels like forever. But
yeah, it actually was.
That's a minute.
Kind of.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably about 10 years.
What about on the boys side? I thought quietly, because you know it was right on the heels of state wrestling. NSAA, the schools did a good job rescheduling those made up games, because some of that was important. Like,
well, yeah.
To squeeze that in, man. I'm sure that was a little bit of a headache.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also there was some pressure to get that done, if you will, because I think there were some schools that didn't want to reschedule it, and others that obviously did. And I did hear there was some conversations about like, hey, if you don't reschedule this, we're just not gonna schedule you anymore, which, you know, is very interesting, because coaches or athletic directors make the basketball schedule, make their own schedules. So yeah, it was good on them to get it done. I will say that every single boys game got rescheduled, that kind of punted, you know, that Thursday or Friday last week. So that was nice to see. I will say that.
Sautter, as we get ready for districts and head into the state tournament here, what, if anything, has changed about your view of the Class A boys field in the last few weeks? Are we still wide open? Anybody's, not anybody, but 7, 8 teams, however many we decided can win that thing, or have you started narrowing the field down at all?
No, I haven't. I think we're still in for, I think Monday or Tuesday night, I guess. Basically everyone's district finals are Monday night except for Westside, which got the #1 overall seed. They play on Tuesday night. And I know like Coach Simons likes playing that Tuesday night game.
Yeah. There are always the Tuesday night game. I was like, why? And then he broke it down for me.
It makes a lot of if you think about it, it does make a lot of sense. So they're the only Tuesday night game. And I do think, they have probably the not easiest route. They should have the easiest route, being that they're the #1 overall seed. Just because you have, Millard South and Benson is in their district, and then Westside gets either Omaha South or Buena Vista, which they should handle those. So Millard South obviously pretty scary, and Benson with Gonar, he can be scary too. But the size and stuff of West Side is just a little different. So, and then you go like A2 Bellevue West. Bellevue West got the 2 seed, and they were 1 before West Side beat East last week or on Monday or whatever that was. So like sneakily, like, you know, I don't know if we're talking about Bellevue West enough here to make a run. They're pretty good. Like you have Keaton Melcher that can hit threes.
I feel like, Jerome, I don't want to cut you off. I feel like I kind of had to cram them down your throat a couple of weeks ago when I was like, well, aren't they? We didn't put them in the 5. And I was like, well, what about Bellevue West?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I to be honest, like the size differential was pretty massive to start the year. Now they've changed some lineups and got more athletic and longer in their 4 and 5. So
and then they proved they could go small like they had to do against Southwest. That was pretty
right.
Man, Klein's a stud.
No, yeah, Coach Klein's a great coach. Like being around him, just AAU stuff and all that. I think he's great. So and then kind of like Prep, like are they fully healthy? Prep is the 3, like Lincoln High, are they fully healthy? Because if Lincoln High is fully healthy, they can really scare you. Kearney just is going to give you everything they got and play really hard. But I would look for Prep to make the state tournament this year after a couple years of some disappointment, if you will, in a district final. So, and then once they get to Lincoln, like they're really scary. Like
that guy loves scout and to game plan. I just few guys take more joy in trying to carve you up than Coach Lutke.
Yeah, I mean, even like a Westview, Millard West, like Millard West has some size in that district semifinal in 4.
Pretty cool how Westview just kind of reloaded after an old team last year.
Yeah, they're super young, inexperienced, if you will, I guess. Now, I mean, obviously they have seniors and stuff, like, but you know what I mean. Like they're pretty young. They, like you said, reloaded. Southwest Metzger is out for the year, and he really stretches the floor for the Twins. I think it was an ACL there, so like that changes a lot and how you can defend them. Just kind of pack it in, if you will, and not let Uzziah or Micaiah just get to the rim because they basically can on almost anyone. So that's a little bit of adjustment that Southwest has had to make. So maybe, maybe a Millard Westview winner can upset them. I don't know. I know, like, I was at the game Millard Westview, like a month ago. It was Millard West Southwest, sorry. And Millard West was tied with them at 53 at the end of the 3rd quarter. So, like, capable, right? And then, Millard North Southeast, super intrigued by that if that ends up being the matchup. Millard North really took one on the chin to Papio South, 2 weeks ago now, or a week ago, or whatever that was. So that one's interesting. And then you go like North Star, Papillion, La Vista could be the matchup in A6. I don't know, like Papio's got some size and Coach Pope's done a really good job there. This is what, year 3, 4 for him, and he's done a great job. And I don't know, I've kind of sung Papio's praises.
I'm a huge Vignes fan. I feel guilty.
No, you shouldn't. I think Bryce Vignes is the best offensive lineman in the 2026 class. And
I saw the rankings and I just had to chuckle. I was like, I get it. They're some arbitrary deal, but that dude is clearly one of the best players we've played against the last 2 years. I mean, I think he was 9, like Tate was 10, and I get it. It's like, I guess it's
who your offers are from,
college potential, but that's a joke. Like,
listen, Bryce Vignes is way good.
He's incredible. Our staff was like, there are very few guys you play against where there's a consensus among opposing staffs on a guy's prowess. And Vignes is definitely that guy.
So it was not this past year, 2 years ago, when they had Garen Malley, who went to Texas Tech, and he got all the buzz and stuff as tackle. And I remember talking to Coach Williams, was at Papio at the time, and I just went over to him in practice. I was like, that guy's your best lineman right there. And it was Vignes, and he was a sophomore. I'm like, he's your best. He's your best one. And like, it was clear then. So he has an official visit to Iowa State lined up, and yeah. So his basketball tapes probably help him a little bit on the football side. I'll say that. So I love him.
I would definitely call Coach Rogers on his behalf. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then A7 is Central, Papio South, or Omaha North if they can beat Central. Like Papio South's in there at 7. So you really look at like wild card point, kind of who can maybe potentially get the wild card thing. And I do think if nobody gets upset in, A1 through 5, then you look at like, it's probably your North Star, Papio Central, Papio South group that's fighting for that. And, if you just win, you don't have to worry about any of that wild card stuff. So
just win, baby.
It does solve a lot of problems there, Mike. Speaking of potential problems, Nebraska heads out to LA this weekend. They've got their LA road trip, USC up first. How you feeling about this trip that it seems like we've been talking about for weeks at this point?
Yeah, I'm feeling better about it than I was before. Feel good about USC. Like, feel good about tomorrow and kind of getting that one done. UCLA I don't feel as good about. And that's kind of been my one thing where I'm just like, it's body clock wise, it's a 10 p.m. tip Central Time. Now, okay, they left today or yesterday. So like to get adjusted and all that. They have a 3 o'clock in the afternoon tip tomorrow, which is 1 o'clock on Saturday. So no big deal. As my man Doc Sadler used to say.
No big deal.
Yeah. So it's
no big deal.
That one. So I do feel better about that. Now USC is super talented. They haven't won, enough this year so far, but the UCLA game, here's kind of a thing. So like Donovan Dent obviously, can get to the basket and kind of can get to the paint and do all that.
I'm sure UCLA fans feel like he's been a little underwhelming, but I agree.
But here's one thing though. What does Nebraska's defense really do?
Yeah.
They don't want you to get to the middle and get to the paint.
They don't mind dribblers.
Yeah, like go ahead and try and get to the paint and dribble around and dribble the ball to Satan, if you will. Like just pound that thing into the ground all day. That's fine. So I feel a little better about that one, but it is kind of that night game. It could be sleepy, all that stuff. And then, man, the Iowa game is looming large at this point for not just Nebraska, but Iowa could be like fighting for their lives next Sunday when they come to Lincoln. And then you have a little bit of what happened in Iowa City as a what's the word I'm looking for? Not revenge, but I think Nebraska will be pretty dialed in next Sunday when Iowa comes to town.
That crowd is going to be nasty. There's going to be the big get back. They're going to protect Coach Hoiberg. Iowa winning that game. That thing is going to be a circus.
Yeah. So I do feel that. And I asked Fred the question, I think on when was it? Before Maryland. And Cale Jacobsen was up there too. And I probably phrased that question a little bit wrong. I probably could have asked it better. But my thought was, or what I wanted an answer from, and Fred has been very good at kind of deflecting and saying, hey, we're one game at a time. All year it's been we're just taking one game at a time. the basis of my question was, hey, you're about to play you have 4 more games, and those teams need a win outside of Maryland, need a win to cement their tournament resume, seed line, all of those things. And you're the hunted, not the hunter at this point in the season. What I should have said was, because you guys are a top 15, top 10 team in the country, people are going to try and knock you off to build their resume. And that's something that Nebraska basketball has never really been used to. So that was the basis of my question. And that's USC needs one. UCLA could use a nice win. And Iowa definitely could use, hey, we beat a top 5 seed twice. We deserve to get in kind of game, or another win if they can get it. So that's what I mean. These next 3 games, those teams are really, really fighting. And Nebraska is going to have that same mentality, which I believe they can. I believe they probably will. And it's one of those things where Iowa punched them in the mouth and they didn't really respond right away. And so I think they're going to be pretty locked in and focused. Now, Nebraska is also fighting. I mean, very real possibility here after last night's result of Michigan State beating Purdue, and then Illinois tonight in Michigan. If Michigan can beat Illinois and Michigan State beating Purdue last night, if Nebraska just kind of handles their business, they can get the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They can finish second. No one's catching Michigan. But a 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament is pretty damn good considering like everything. I mean, that's amazing. So there's all those tiebreaker things and who do you need to root for to win and lose and all that. But Nebraska just needs to handle their business. Do I think they win tomorrow against USC? Yes. Do I think UCLA is tougher? Yeah, they're a better team. And then, all the marbles on that Iowa game a week from Sunday.
Michigan's actually favored in Champaign, and I don't have any problems with that.
Yeah, Michigan's just way good. Like
just won, but
they when they want to like turn it on, like a Minnesota game, I watched that the other night, and it was like a 5-point. Minnesota led like for a lot of it in Ann Arbor, and then it was like, like we're done just messing around. Let's just get this over with. And then it was like, boom, like just shot out of a cannon and took off. And that, I mean, Nebraska did that to Maryland the other night too. But Michigan's so damn good. They're unbelievable. And Iowa, on the Iowa thing, they have a tough schedule here. So they beat Ohio State the other night, which that game was bonkers. Ohio State was up 12-0 to start the game. And Iowa just goes on like a crazy run to basically seal the game in the first half. But Iowa goes to Penn State tomorrow, which playing on the road at Penn State's always kind of difficult, especially when there's going to be hundreds of people there. So kind of bring your own juice. Bring your own juice kind of game for Iowa. And then they play Michigan in Iowa City, and then they play Nebraska. So before, Wednesday, Iowa needed to basically win 2 of those 4 games, and they've won 1 now. So it's just, it's coming down here to the end. And that's what I mean by like Iowa's going to be fighting for their life to get in to, get an 8-9 seed kind of thing. So Nebraska's got some work cut out for them still. I mean, obviously they're going to make the NCAA tournament. Obviously, probably in that 3-4 range of a seed line right now. It would be great if Kansas could lose some games here. I'll say that for Nebraska fans, because going to like Buffalo as a 3 seed or San Diego or Portland or Greenville is a lot different than going to Oklahoma City as a 3 seed. So, and if Kansas is a 3 and they're ahead of Nebraska, they'll get the regional kind of bump and protection. And Kansas obviously would, I mean, if you're the people in Oklahoma City, you'd prefer to have Kansas there, just from geographic stuff. So that one, got to have Kansas maybe kind of slip up here a little bit, and Nebraska jump them in that 3 seed group.
There you go. That's Mike Sautter, Hurrdat Sports, NAB Preps.
Trying to do the math. I was looking at Kim Palm as he's talking, and I'm like, they're not going any worse than a 4.
No.
Which is super safe. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to do the math to get to a 2. 3's fine. I like the exercise we did. We'll get you next week on this one, though, Jerome, with the 6-7s. Not a ton of difference of whether you're a 2 or a 3 in the next round. It's all treacherous.
Yeah, being the top 3 might actually be better than being the bottom 2 location-wise. So
for sure.
Mike, appreciate the time as always. We will talk to you next week.
Yeah, go Jets.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to talk to one Steven Mercedes SIPPLE here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
That's a good word for it, Robin. I actually thought Price had a couple good looks. He had a really good look on that first possession and had a good one in transition that unfortunately didn't go down. Jamarcus missed one at the rim, and I did think we guarded well, though. That kept us in it even when the ball. I think the whole first media timeout. I'm stupid enough to think in my head, I wonder how long the longest it's taken for the fans to have to sit down after a point. I thought we were going to set that record tonight, but listen, that's a talented team. I know I talked about that yesterday. They're playing really good basketball right now. Give credit to Buzz and their staff and their players for continuing to fight and battle. And they went out the first 8 or 9 minutes of the second half, and they got everything. They got all the loose balls. We couldn't finish possessions. I didn't like our body language. I talked about that in the huddle. We were down 3, and looking at their faces, it felt like we were down 20. So once we fixed that and started rebounding the ball, that got us out in transition. I told them you can't run if you can't get the ball.
Yeah, just a great win for our guys. I got so much respect for Greg and his teams and the way they play and how hard they are to guard. This fan base is phenomenal. It's an 8 o'clock tip and the energy they provide. So this whole university and program I just have tremendous respect for, and it begins with my admiration for Greg. So he's been so good to me over the years in terms of win or lose, just been super gracious. And we really honestly, both games, our guys found a way late. We very easily could have lost both games. Our guys know that, but players win games, and our guys found a way to win this one, and BMAC obviously played a huge role in it.
Yeah, just the times I've been on the ice with him and just watching him play, I think that's a rare talent to have somebody with that ability. He's, one of the 12 best forwards in the whole country. So I think that's pretty special what he's done there. And yeah, again, even Lindsay, our academic advisor that kind of handles all our academics for our department. I won't butcher her last name, but it's she was just commenting on too how he even though he left after his junior year, he finished his degree, and just the type of kid he was, and always nervous to making sure everything was done on time, and just how he conducted himself. So pretty special hockey player, and obviously made a good impact as a human being with his character as well.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I think that's been an interesting dynamic for me to get used to because I sat in so many meetings, but I was always on the other side of it, right? So you're always hearing the message, and sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't, but trying to formulate a message to the masses, but then also pick out individual experiences and individual situations that come up has been a really unique challenge. But I do think part of that helps because I have pretty recently been on the other side of that and can understand a little bit where they're coming from. Now, I was in their seats a long, long time ago, but I was still kind of on the other side of that meeting not all that long ago.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Steve Marvolo. SIPPLE, what's going on, Sip? How we doing?
Marvolo, you guys got a nice little setup there.
You like that?
Yeah, we got a new studio, Sip.
It's nice.
Yeah, our bosses are very forward thinking, Sip. So they kind of plan this baby, this brain trust. You ought to come over to this. You guys have some nice toys over there. I see where you sit on that little glass bottom floor you live in, where you like to throw all your stones. That's a nice little spot you got over there.
Yeah. Stones. Now wait a second. At the ticket, are you talking about?
Yes, isn't that where you
Yeah.
usually give a shameless plug? Are you sure?
Not the ticket now. I'm over at Husker Online now.
I can tell by your backdrop.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good to be with you guys. I imagine we have a lot to talk about.
How was Milwaukee?
Oh, it was great. It was interesting. We always do that. 3 of the grandkids, Cashton, Alex, and Dominic, we always go to NBA games. We've been doing it. This is our 7th year. And we went and saw Milwaukee and Miami. It doesn't really matter where we go, in my opinion. They wanted to go to Milwaukee. I wanted to go to Memphis. They're sort of out on Memphis. We've done that twice.
Yeah.
They wanted to go north, and it was good. It was a good game. Milwaukee's playing well right now.
Sip, I always loved the fact that as one of Columbus's finest, you do have a fair amount of crossover. Like you like basketball, you like the NBA.
I do.
You gave me a litany of rappers that he was listening to in the car. I didn't know whether your grandkids were just having their own concert or you were just being nice to me because it's the end of Black History Month. But
that was the playlist.
Your Rolodex was sensational.
Yeah, I mean it was 8 hours of straight rap music. I mean pretty hardcore. Like, Julio's about as soft as it got.
Well, you were playing some J. Cole too, right?
Yeah, J. Cole, a boogie in a hoodie.
Drake, but he sucks.
I hate Drake. Serious. God, he's so serious. Lighten up, dude.
Sip, you and I are on the same page. I'm a hater on Drake. I'm out.
So serious.
I think you're funny. You strike me as more of like a Bob Seger, Creedence Clearwater Revival guy. So your range is impressive.
Oh God, yeah. Don't pigeonhole me on any of that. I mean,
Okay.
I have a wide. I definitely have a wide range.
Steve On wears his war wounds like a crown.
I'm a big CCR guy. You know that.
That's fine, but you're weird.
more Anglo than he is.
Wow.
David.
What? I'm just taking a few liberties. I got a couple of days left to enjoy myself.
You are taking liberties.
I mean, fudge. You gave us the coldest month out of the year. I'm going to go out with a bang.
That's fine.
Just saying. So like, are you back, locked and loaded, ready to go? These guys are going to get after it in the morning, man. Are you? You got your ears to the ground?
Yeah, I'm back. I mean, we got back Wednesday night, and I was working Wednesday night, so yeah, I'm back. I'm following it closely. Rhule has a press conference tomorrow. I'll be locked in.
Yeah. So do you call him by his first name?
Coach Rhule. That's a good question. Okay, well, since you asked,
I'm just curious. I was just talking to Sautter, and he kept saying Fred, and it was giving me the willies. I'm like, Sautter. And I was like, wait, when you're peers, do you call people by their first name?
No. In fact, since you asked, I've noticed even with players, a lot of sports writers, media always go first name, and I don't. Because I don't know them. I don't like Sam. You hear Sam. I don't know Sam Hoiberg, so I call him Sam Hoiberg. Coach Hoiberg. It's I don't do the first name.
Sam, Sam Hoiberg.
I don't go first name unless back in the day when you played, for instance, we did get to know players because you were there for an appreciable amount of time. And I didn't mind saying Jamal, Jamal Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I'd call him Jamal on the radio. But not at first. It was Lord. But then there was a certain time where, yeah, okay, I know him very well. But that's you don't get that as much anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by. I'll be curious to hear what he has to say tomorrow, post practice, because there's definitely been a shift. I think, and just very direct, just very to the point. There is no real fluff, right? We're talking ball. We're talking, spending ins and outs. There isn't this. I don't think they're going to give you a ton to spend, to analyze, to literally digest. However it is you consume information. I just think it's going to be a lot of football going forward, which isn't all bad.
No, I think you're right. I mean, that's the way it's been now. I think, and I do think it's okay. I think it's okay that I'm trying to put it right, that Nebraska maybe is going to fly under the radar for once. It just doesn't do that very much. Even here, there's a much different feel, and I do think it can be good if it's handled correctly. I think some of what's going on, I wonder sometimes if some of those guys feel a little slighted. Here's what I'm talking about. I heard Cam Lenhart speaking last night at an event in Lincoln, and sometimes I have to be reminded in my shoes, and I think everybody does. Like Cam said, hey, I just wanted to leave this place better than I found it. And that is when Cam Lenhart came, it was a 4-win program. And they've now won 7 back-to-back. And I really have to be reminded of that sometimes. You know what? They have gotten better. It is better. It's not where they even want it to be, but it's better. And I think that weighs on Coach Rhule a little bit, that the tone has gotten kind of, we always talk about apathy or it's just outright negative. And I think that wears him out a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, Sip, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a thing that I've sort of struggled with, perception and expectations sort of with this program, considering where they had been in the last decade as opposed to the last couple of years, right? Where, yes, the way the season ended leaves a very bitter taste in your mouth, but if you can take like a 10,000-foot view instead of a 10-foot view, Like, it's pretty easy to see that guys like Cam Lenhart and guys that have come in over the last handful of years that have been here for more than a couple of years have obviously elevated the program to a place that it struggled to get to for about a decade. Like, why do you think that is? Like, you talk to a lot of fans, you talk to a lot of people. Like, why do you think it is that we have such a hard time just recognizing the pure facts that Nebraska had not had a winning record in consecutive years in over a decade?
I mean, on the other end of it, I just said what I said. I mean, they have back-to-back 7-win seasons, and that's progress. I think a lot of it, to answer your question, I think a lot of it is because the way it finished last year, as you mentioned, but also 2 of those wins were Houston Christian and Akron. And, discernible fans recognize that 7-6 almost feels sub 500 in some ways. It's not, but it didn't feel great. It didn't, even some of the wins, when you go back on them, Maryland, I was impressed by the way they did it, but you can spin it the other way. Like, oh God, it was all you could do to beat Maryland. That sort of thing. And some of the losses, the nature of the losses were rough, especially at the end. And that's what dominates the conversation. That they got, you got jackhammered at Penn State. You didn't play Iowa like you wanted to, and then the bowl game. So I think a lot of it's that. It's I kind of feel for Coach Rhule, because he's kind of getting that. We've seen it here. It's tough. This place gets tough for head coaches. I've saw it. I mean, come on, you guys have saw it.
Yes,
You saw it. It got to Frank. It got to Bill. Didn't really get to Riley. Didn't really. It didn't. He just because of where he was at in his career. Got to Bo. Got to Frost. And it's kind of here we go again.
That's interesting because you're super perceptive about how this place can churn and burn.
Oh
right?
boy. Yeah, it's rough.
And you need a certain temperament.
Yeah.
And I think he's clearly being tested, which is why I think he's done about as good a job as he thinks he can to thinsulate himself with the ride or dies. Whether it's the mentalities in the building, the players in the program, his relationship with his athletic director. Like, I think you can just tell. I mean, it's kind of bunker time because you can see everybody kind of drawing their line in the sand with him. And I think he's just going to come out swinging.
Well, that's what he has to do. And if I talked to him, if I ever had a conversation with him, I'd tell him just what I kind of said to you guys. Look, I've seen this before. I've seen this picture before. It's not unique here. You're in a tough spot now. It gets rough. It got really rough. I can remember Bill Callahan, how rough it got after they lost in Arrowhead, and he was kind of confused, like what's wrong with these with these people? We just played for the Big 12 championship. I don't understand it. It ate at him. I mean, it really got to Bo, really got to him. The heat, it got to him. Frost, it got to him. It picked him apart.
Oh yeah.
He left a different dude. I mean, that's what I'm saying is these guys leave different than they came. And I would counsel Matt just
now he's back to Matt again?
Yeah, I kind of went back to Matt. I counsel Coach Rhule. That's what this place does. It's what a lot of places does, but it's rough here. I mean, it can get really rough.
Do you think at all that coming from Penn State, which I think in terms of its ability to wear on a coach and expectations, do you think being from a similar place but not this place sort of helps equip him for at least understanding? Maybe you can handle it, maybe you can't, but for at least sort of understanding that process a little bit better.
Robbie, that's a good question, but I would say this. If you're not in that chair, I don't think it does help you all that much. You have to be in that leadership position where so many people. You're in charge of so many people.
Yeah.
And I know, like with Bo, I think Bo was okay with the heat to a certain extent, but he didn't like that it was going to affect so many other people. And if he lost his job, so he felt a lot of pressure, not because so much in an individual sense, it was always, God, all these people are going to, I'm responsible for all this. So I think, no, hey, Ravi, I just think until you're in that leadership chair where you are the person, I don't think it helps that much. But Penn State, by the way, is a great comparison. That place will chew you up too, as we saw with Franklin.
I think one of the things too that's I think he's looking at it as a positive half full because Coach Rhule is super competitive, where there have been so many people that have fallen by the wayside that allegedly or proclaim or profess to love this place. And then when the heat got turned up, like they found a way to get off the hook, right? Or to get out of the bounce. And I think what he's like is, man, you guys have kind of attached me to here and I'm supposed to be going here. And this was my dream job here. He says, look, man, my wife loves it. I love it. Like, I'm going to show you guys what real fortitude is. Like, I think he looks at it as a challenge. He's like, everybody else bailed. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to hunker down.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's the mentality. And then I think you attach yourself to the guys you're coaching and the guys you're in the bunker with. That is your staff, and you can make it work. But I get it. I mean, come on, man. That job can be lonely. And I say attach yourself to the guys. You also have to dole out discipline, and you can't be friends with everybody. It's a rough life. But I think he's equipped, and I hope you're right. I hope he's bunkered down, and I hope he's in a fighting posture. It's kind of the way you ought to be, and some of it is schedule driven too. I mean, they're going into rough waters, and I don't know. I think it would be. I try to put myself in his shoes a bit.
You know why I say that? Because, periodically, like, I'll just call, right? Hey, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Or, yesterday, it's like, hey, man, how you doing all right? And Steve, he literally would say to me, and our relationship, he literally will say, you're not pitying me. Like, are you?
Yeah, you don't want that.
Or do you really care? You just, hey, don't do that to me. I was like, hey, man, I'm just checking on you. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want that.
No, but I think I don't mind that you do it. It makes sense to me because of what we just established. But of course, he doesn't want it. He's a fighter. That's what that's what you want. That's really at the end of the day what you want.
And I think that's what I gravitate to. Like, he's just ultra competitive when it comes to figuring it out without being deterred. Now, I don't know how long he can hang in. Everybody's got a breaking point.
Yeah.
But he just seems recalibrated on moving forward. And I'm like, that takes some stones because, after back-to-back bowl trips, but people still call it disappointing, which to some degree it is, it'd be easy to just be mad that nothing's ever good enough.
Yeah,
but he finds to just be like, look, man, it's back-to-back bowl games. I get it. It's Vegas and New York, but we were kind of in a drought. Can we just build this thing?
Right.
But he figured out something else to motivate him, right? I mean, he gutted I don't know. The competitive stamina is one thing I absolutely admire.
I do too. It's necessary. It is. It's a tough challenge, and then you've got. The conversation also has to include just what does he have over there? I mean, is he confident with what he has? That's a critical part of it. So we're going to see. It's the beauty of it. It's kind of fun. But I just want to go back to what we established early. I think it is useful to remind yourself it is in a better spot than it was. I do think it causes him some degree of confusion sometimes when he's feeling sort of attacked. Wait a second. I walked into a 4-win program. We've gone to back-to-back bowls. I mean, all I'm saying is I hope people are fair-minded about the conversation and that there is balance. And I'm trying, in my role, I have to make sure there's balance and I'm being fair.
All right, slot these guys for me in terms of your expectation level. I want to start with O-line of the new guys.
Okay.
With Babalade, Mubanga, and Black.
Yeah.
Slot them for me.
Well, slot him in terms. I mean, I think Babalade would be it looks to me right away like he'll be your starting right tackle. I think that 4 practices in, there's maybe you know more than I do, but I'm not. Everything I'm hearing would suggest that I heard Coach Mosey last night at a fundraising event in Lincoln say he's an NFL player. Said that about Black. Black would be a guard. I'm not sure what side I'm not sure what side Black would be on. But I imagine he'll be a starting guard. Babalade will be a starting right tackle. Paul Mubenga would be a starting guard as well. Those guys, and I think Black and Babalade probably are more impactful right away, but Mubenga probably is a starter too.
Listen,
do you think all 3 of them are starters?
I do.
This is a hot take, and I guarantee you haven't heard this anywhere else.
Okay, I want to hear it.
I think Mubanga is the best of the bunch.
Whoa. Okay, interesting. Hey, I'm all ears, Damon. That's interesting.
You won't, and if you hear it someplace else, somebody got it from me. Because I've heard that he's kind of the third and the 2. My opinion, I think Mubanga is the best of the bunch.
Okay, interesting.
I don't have any qualms saying that.
Do you think they're all 3 starters?
I don't know. You have to, it's interesting. I think, if Justin Evans wasn't there, I think Sledge would be starting. So he's in the discussion, and I think they really like Gatula too, but he's got to get to where he's got to get healthy.
He still hasn't had an off season.
So
man. That's tough.
I don't know. I mean, I think those are the next 2 though, for sure. Are Sledge and Gatula, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think they want to move for either of you? Do you think they want to move Gatula inside, or do they want to keep him on the tackle?
I think he's a tackle. He's long. He's long.
I feel he'd be the right. I guess you'd say he would be battling with Babalade is what I would think.
It's a big offensive line. I don't know how good. I assume they're going to be really, really good, but you look at them on the hoof. That's a big offensive line.
And if Holgerson said he put the athletic tag on it too, which is good. If they're big and athletic, I know we're not going to do this thing where we crown that line.
I made this was my New Year's resolution, Sip, with you saying that I don't care if people don't know how to receive the information. I just think they should just listen to the context. I'm not anointing. I'm critiquing and analyzing what I see. What the value that if you leave and think that I said that they're going to win the Big Ten or this is the best offense, I can't fix stupid. So I think we should just freely be able to have the conversation without worrying about people taking and running because they don't listen to context.
Well, it's part of the sort of precarious position we're in now. If you do praise the team, you get criticized. So it's kind of, I get it. Yeah, it's become sort of complicated.
Oh yeah,
if you let it,
we know that. I was high on the defensive line last year, and nobody let me hear the end of it. But I still think that's a super talented group. So that's kind of where I want to go next, Sip. Speaking of new guys, you got Whittington, you got Stoudemire, you got Jones. More impactful with the new guys or the guys that are returning for you on the defensive line?
It depends who you're talking about. Whittington, I think, on pass downs is going to be impactful. The question with him at 6 foot 270, how well will he hold up against the run? Stoudemire, it's just too early probably to say on him. But, you know, they want him to be an anchor, right? I mean, a run stopper more so than Whittington. I don't have a great feel for Jones. I think right now you would say, like some of this is I'm just coming right off of listening to Mosey talk about every guy, every newcomer. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like Jones would be projected right now as a backup on the edge, behind Winery, maybe behind Petchak, but with the possibility to work his way into a starting role. So all those guys come on, man, you bring those guys in. These are all, well, two of them are. Stoudemire's a 6-year guy. Jones, I think, is a 5th or 6-year guy. Whittington's a younger guy, sophomore, but still you bring him in for a reason. So we'll just have to see. I hate saying that, but with Jones and Stoudemire, they got some stuff to prove. And again, Whittington's interesting to me because he was so highly touted in high school. I mean, some people said he's the best lineman in the state of Pennsylvania. That gets your attention, really. So I know he's got good motor. He's athletic. It's just a size issue.
I just think I find it fascinating because obviously out of the groups and both were, I think, maligned in different ways over the course of the year, the offensive and defensive line. I find it interesting, and maybe it's just the quality of guys we feel like were brought in on the offense versus the defense. But it seems like we're assuming a lot more out of the new guys on offensive line than we are on the defensive line.
I think so too. Yeah,
the place that I think had more problems in terms of as a fan base.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think it's fair, to be honest. I would have liked to see him do a little bit more in the portal on the defensive side, but on the other hand, here's what I don't want to do. I wanted to bring this up.
What don't you want to do, Marvelous?
I don't want to judge anybody over there based on what I think is going to happen.
I agree.
You got to be careful not to judge, like Matt Rhule, for instance, based on what you think is going to happen in 2026. And it's the same way I don't want to judge any of those players based on what I think. Let's see, but I think everybody agrees that defensive line, there's a lot to prove there.
So if you're okay along those lines, since you're very bright, that's a very mature response, mature, as you would say. Based on what you've seen, either them playing or if you've watched Rhule on film, which running back do you anticipate will be the most different from the last time you saw them?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
That's a really good. It sounds like it could be Ives. If it clicks with Ives, it'll be different. I mean, because obviously he wasn't a big factor last year. They want him to be a big factor. I hope it's Ives. All of them you could make a case for in that conversation. I loved hearing, I will say this, Isaiah Mosey was on hand at this event last night in Lincoln. He was tremendous. I loved this competitiveness. He just is all about being number one. He doesn't go to the stage and take questions from Sean and say, you know what? I just want to help the team win, and whatever I have to do, I'll do. Yeah, he is that guy, but he also says, but I want to be the number one running back. That's my goal. I want to be number one. So I love that. I like that picture more and more. The coaches have been very convincing about why they stood pat, and it makes sense to me. And the one thing that really makes sense,
they bristled up at it. I loved Coach Holgerson's response.
I did too.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and he said something that was very tangible. I mean, something that was very meaningful. It was, hey, if Ives wouldn't have had a good December in our eyes, we might have made a move. So that was something you could grab onto. Okay, that makes sense.
And who's worse than the last time we saw them than when they first got there? They're clearly developing guys. Dowdell left better.
Emmett
Johnson
Emmett
left
obviously
better.
left better.
Ramir Johnson left better. I mean, that bowl, like somebody's getting those guys ready, right?
Yeah, Barthel, I think he does a good job. Clearly, I mean, come on. I mean, you don't have to sell that after what Emmett did. You don't have to sell. You shouldn't have to work too hard to sell EJ.
So on your show, does Barthel get credit?
No.
Tagged along with Emmett. So what do you mean? Like, yeah, you do have to sell it. People talk about Emmett independent of even the offensive line. You think they're going to give his coach any credit?
Well, what I'm suggesting, Damon, is you shouldn't have to sell it. I think you do, but you shouldn't have to.
Stephen Marcellus.
I agree with you because that Sip, we had this discussion a little bit ago where it's really hard to wrap my mind around how independently we take Emmett Johnson and the year he had.
It's because we like Emmett,
and we don't talk about the offensive line. We don't talk about we don't talk about EJ Barthel. We don't talk about the development. We talk as if the Emmett Johnson almost 1,500 yard season.
Oh, Dana found him. That's what it is. Babe, when Dana got here,
we give Dana a tiny bit of credit, not for the play calling or anything, because we didn't like that last year. But like it's a very strange situation where we just seem to isolate Emmett Johnson from every other thing that factored into his year last year.
Oh my God, that's a great point. Yeah, I've never had this conversation with anybody, but I have felt it.
He gets mad. He loses sleep over it. That's why he can so easily rattle it off.
It's the offensive line for me more than anything. Is like, listen, I can understand like, hey, we didn't love the pass pro, even though like I've done the math and like done the counting on how many times they had 3 seconds to throw the ball. But like, okay, we didn't like the pass pro. Like that's fine. You cannot have a 1,500 yard rusher and be a bad offensive line. That's just not a thing.
You watch the game, so in a kind of I thought the Iowa game encapsulates this entire conversation. I was sitting in the press box.
They were moving.
They are ravaging Iowa on the ground. This is amazing.
They were moving those guys up front.
Yeah, Iowa couldn't stop Nebraska's run game. But here's what happens. You lose 40-16, and that conversation gets entirely lost.
Yeah, nobody cares, right?
Yep.
Right.
Which is
They
fair.
were hammering Iowa on the ground. They were hammering them. I mean, it was a sight to behold, but totally lost in the discussion.
Nebraska's offensive line physically dominated Iowa in the running game. That's like I feel very comfortable saying that. And again, it doesn't matter because of the final score. I understand that.
And here's Emmett in week 12, in game 12, running like it's game 1. I mean, hammering away, just hammering away. It was, to me, it was beautiful, but then it was 40-16, and I got to write other stuff,
Sip, I'm going to get, this is the last one for me. I was chomping at the bit to ask you this because of the pushback, and it just seemed like I felt like it was kind of pick on Coach Holgorsen at the press conference day, right? Whether it was the running back question, the portal, people didn't like the fact that he said it was a kind of a numbers game if you get rid of, like, I just felt like, I don't know. So, but along those lines, he said he was talking about Mackay, and he's like, hey, Mackay in the bowl game, he showed this, and I'm not sure EJ could have done that, and EJ's going to probably be mad at me. And everybody, like the detractors, immediately said, listen, it was 1.5 quarters. It was one run. It was a meaningless bowl game. Like, that's not enough. Like, which isolated may be true. But to his point about development, he's just talking about where he's seen him go, right? He's using his own frame of reference. What do you think is different about Holgorsen saying that about Mackay Nelson versus at almost an all-time emotional low for T.O. and like 90 and 91 when we're watching them just get boat raced and it's Georgia Tech? And what did we say to ourselves, Sip? We said, oh, they got something with this Derek Brown, or, oh, man, they got something with this Johnny Mitchell. And it was because it was a meaningless bowl game in which they got beat by handed.
It's bad. It was bad.
Like, what's the difference in a coach seeing that growth and how we responded in another meaningless bowl game about other guys?
I think it's because at that point, I don't think that the fan base was as beaten down. I think that explains a lot of the response.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little bit, but not like
89, 90, 91. You don't think we were beat down as a fan
little
base?
bit, not like no, not quite. It was a different dynamic back then. It was a different dynamic.
Okay, so one was predicated because we were spoiled and then kind of not having the results we wanted. I get that versus being not very good over the last 8 years. But being down on the program bottom line, you think is different?
Yeah, and I think the trust. I think isn't it just like a trust issue? Like I think that
I don't know.
maybe you trusted that staff back then a little bit more because it was reeling off 9-win seasons or more.
Do you remember how we were playing the 50 and we were slow?
Oh my God, I remember it very well. I mean,
you were right there.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I was. I mean, I wasn't covering it because I was at the paper. I was at the student paper. I was covering it to some degree, but I remember the Georgia Tech game like it was yesterday. So I get where you're coming from. I can't fully explain it because it's complicated, but back then everything felt a little more sturdy. There wasn't a lot of change. There wasn't a lot of coaching. Wasn't any hardly coaching changes.
All right.
No, everybody was ingrained here. And now you have that revolving door. You have, a lot of people just feel like some of these guys are just interlopers. They're just coming through for a little bit.
Interlopers.
So it's a different. All I can say is it's a much, much different dynamic now. I mean, the whole conversation.
I just mean being optimistic about seeing young talent.
Yeah, I'm making it a little more.
Not necessarily the time.
Hey, here's the thing, though. I got to say, this is an individual conversation. I am excited about Mekhi Nelson. I am excited about Mosey.
Yeah.
Ives there's some convincing that has to be done, but those top two, I like them. I really like Mekhi. I really do. I like the way he knifes into contact. He's a tough kid. He's not going back. He's gonna be no nonsense. And Mosey, there's a lot there. So I am pretty optimistic about it.
Sip. All right. I know we started with NBA. I want to end with a little quick trivia question.
Please.
I'm an NBA guy as well. I think you know who my favorite team and player is. Do you know what today is the 10-year anniversary of?
I have not the foggiest notion, Robbie.
It is the 10-year anniversary. One of my favorite moments.
So it's 2016 in February.
Oh, you should know.
2016 in February. It has to be Golden State.
Yep. Maybe the greatest regular season shot of all time.
What is that?
Oh, that's not even remotely true. You threw me with the hyperbole. What was it?
It's the Curry game winner against Oklahoma City from about 40.
That might be the most innocuous thing I've ever heard.
Beautiful.
Why? How would I possibly know that?
We celebrate it like it's Christmas around here.
Robbie.
Unbelievable.
Sip, I'm also supposed to tell you from Rico that he loves you. I'm supposed to pass that.
I love him and I miss him.
Well, he threatened you. That's the only reason we got you to respond. I had to say Rico said.
God, I responded. I was on vacation.
Well, he's going to cancel the friendship.
No,
I'm just telling you, Sip, he kind of threatened to touch you up a little bit. I don't know who I would take in that one.
You guys are always threatening me physically, which I don't quite.
I just have to defend myself over here. Rico's a tyrant.
No,
he kind of is.
He's like a little bully, but he's never going to fall through on any of it. Like he'll bully you a little bit, but I just want to make it clear. I think Sip froze here, which is a perfect face right there for him. I have never physically threatened Sip. I just want to make that clear.
Robbie has not.
Well, I can't say that. But marvelous, Stephen, marvelous. You're still marvelous.
I have to put my hands up when Damon comes around.
Yeah, I'd like to shadow box, and you're pretty good. I mean, you got some skills, man. Like, why not?
Yeah, I say the same thing every time. You got about 30 pounds on me, which is concerning.
All All right, stickler.
Sip, we appreciate the time as always. That is Stephen Montgomery Sipple.
Thank you.
I know it's your favorite one. You're
the best, Sip. Appreciate you.
See you later, guys.
See you, buddy.
That is Steve Sipple. He is from Husker Online. Make sure you go check him out. Great stuff as always from Sip. DB,
what up?
Have a good weekend, man.
No, I'm not going to.
No, why not?
I got my pouty pants on.
Well, try and sleep a little bit at some point.
I'll be better after I take Micah to the airport, get him out of here.
Yeah, just ship him out.
Yeah, me and my thoughts this weekend.
Got to get gone.
You got something on the grill right now, or what?
No.
Not this time.
I am. I'm grilled out for the next 20 hours.
For 20 whole hours, not grilling?
Well, I'm in Fairfield tomorrow. I have an event.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Got an event.
Back at the old fire department.
Well, make sure you give our friends over at Next Gen a call. It is 614-9700. You can get that Sir Moreland and start hopping fences like DB. Get a little spring in your step.
It wasn't the Sir Moreland that did it.
You might. Who knows? We don't know.
It's called anxiety, but I love Next Gen because they help me stick the landing without my knees cracking.
That's true. The TB500 maybe helped you with the landing a little bit, so
There it
you're
is.
not. All the tendons are still intact, which
Yep.
is a
Lock,
good
stock,
sign.
baby.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back on Monday. More Hurrdat Sports Live.